Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
It is Friday once again. Man, the weeks just are blowing by. You know that?
It is.
Maybe it's because we're trapped inside most of the time.
Friday again.
Yeah, Friday again. Hey, guys, I'm super excited about tonight. I'm super excited to share a bunch of things with you guys. I've got a lot of stuff in the pipe to talk about. I don't know if we'll get to all of it or not. But more importantly than everybody, let's recognize the people who make the whole thing go. So Farm Ranch Homestead was the first one in the house. Good evening to you. The second best name on the internet, the Banquet of Consequences, is in the house. My buddy Zach from Unique Prepping. Zach, I want to tell you, I had so much fun on our live that we did yesterday, and I hope we get to do it again soon. Let's keep us going down here, man. They were talking early in here, which is pretty cool. Oh, YouTube just let me know that we're live. I would have never known.
Good.
How cool is that? Let me get down here a little bit.
They're tracking you.
Yep, Gizmo's in the house. Good evening to you. Man, you guys were super active tonight. Pack Rat made it. Pack Rat, good evening. What's this say here? The footer on the live stream said it's scheduled for January 20th. I hope we aren't waiting that long. Oh my goodness.
Did you get the wrong day?
I don't know. We're live right now. Oh no, let me look here real quick. Now I gotta look. See what it says.
Thanks for keeping him in line.
Yeah, someone needs to do it, right? Let's see here. Live. It says I'm live, and it says January 19th. Anyway, something's going on. We'll get back to it here. Hey, Gypsy. Good evening to you. It
Hello.
says, just got back from Denison's Finest, the finer than frog hair bar and grill, celebrating my 62. Kicked back ready for the live. Also plurged on a frap from Mickey D's. Yeah, well, I guess that we can do that real quick. I know of at least 2 birthdays tonight, right?
Yes. Yep.
So,
Bill.
So we got Bill, which is the better half of Nitos, or maybe Nitos. Maybe I don't know who's the better half, but either way, them. And then Gypsy's going to do real quick.
Gypsy. Yep. Let's
Ready?
See.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gypsy and Nitos.
No, not Nitos.
Not
Bill.
Bill with Nitos. Happy birthday to you. Hey, I wanted to tell you guys something real quick about Gypsy. For those of you guys who didn't know, we call him King, Juicy, Gypsy, Hefty, Lefty. And so he continues to gain nicknames, but we found another one for him today. Actually, B found it today. We didn't know that he shared something special. Remember what you told me?
Oh, his birthday.
Yes.
He shares a birthday with Al Capone.
He does. So Gypsy shares the birthday of Al Capone. And so now we get to call him King, Juicy, Gypsy, Hefty, Lefty, Capone.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll just keep adding to it.
That's
right?
a mouthful.
Yep. Terminator's in the house. Good evening to you. The greatest name on the internet. Yep. Good evening to you, my friend. Keep scrolling down here. Hey, Leather Homestead's in the house. How are you doing, my friend? Skane's Girl's in the house. I hope everything's going better for you. I know it's a huge challenge. Just know you're not alone. And Skane's Girl, you reach out anytime. Keep going here. Oh, my goodness. Songs of Joy is in the house. And the freedom fighter herself, Silver Lining. Good evening. Good evening. If I missed somebody, I'm sorry. Hey, the famous Eagle Lover, Texas, is in the house.
Hello.
I keep thinking I'm going to reach the bottom at one point here. Maybe. LJC is in the house. Good evening to you.
It's Friday.
Yep, it's Houlihan Friday. Yep, Vicky Poland, good evening to you. Yep, welcome all freesteading friends. Hey, Jess and Joe from American Roots are in the house.
Hey, everyone.
We are in the presence of royalty, not just King Jeff, Juicy, Hefty,
Gypsy,
Lefty, Gypsy, Al Capone, but American Roots is here. One more rock, good evening to you. Let me see here. Man, you guys are chatty. That's good. We're going to have a good night.
I know you're reading every one of those.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through them, just making sure I
This is
get
how you do when you're looking for a movie. You're just like flipping right through it. So I know you're reading every one.
I am. I'm pretty good at speed reading that way. Make sure. Oh, Bessie's in the house.
Hello.
Yeah. Indiana Mike, ahoy. How are you, my friend?
Ahoy.
ACM Homestead and Big Kid. Jules is in the house. Hello, hello. Grateful Hearts, good evening to you. Carrie Davis, Jane is in the house. Stan is in the house. Dorothy, oh my goodness. Midwest Ribeye. I was actually talking about you today, Midwest. There is a proposed homesteader event to go on in Iowa. And they were asking me if I knew anybody up there. So I said I did know you, but we'll have to connect at another time. But just a FYI.
Was it Iowa?
Yeah, it's in Iowa. Hey, Bird's Eye Views in the house.
Hello.
Yep, Starla Doak. Starla, I got your text message. I haven't been able to dig through it, but I absolutely will. Gypsy says, and Dolly Parton.
Oh, I
so
didn't
apparently
know that.
Dolly Parton's birthday as well. So what could we give Gypsy as a nickname?
Well, she's already hefty.
Is hefty enough?
That's enough.
Can Squatch, good evening to you. Leela, hello. Hey, Ghetto's in the house. Hey, I had fun on the live with you last night, Ghetto. Barbara S. is here. Good evening. All right, cool. I think I got all the way to the bottom of it.
The man.
Oh, I need to get all the way back up there.
Who's she talking about?
So
where are you going?
I've got to go up here to get rid of that comment.
Whee!
Oh, maybe I can just do that. Oh, there you go. That's even better. All right. Anyway, so what you got?
Just learned a new thing.
I did. I just learned a new thing.
Good job.
All right. So what do you got?
Just trying to recover from the snow and the snow and the snow.
Yeah, that's been a challenge. Huh?
Yeah, finally we used up like the majority of the wood that I had on the back deck. We were able to bring in another cord yesterday. Yesterday was the warmest day of the week.
Yeah.
It was 32.
Yeah, I'm actually excited. We're a long ways already into next year for wood storage.
Oh.
So we're in great shape for wood, but still got to move it in and move it around. But I'm hoping by I get to the middle of the spring, I'd really like to get about 3 years, have 3 years put up, heading into this next winter.
Well, that would be nice. Yeah. Because, I mean, the colder when it's negative 20 at night, we're stoking that fire almost every hour. It seems like to keep that going, keep it hot, had pipes freeze. He said, don't leave the door open on the back deck. And I said, I'm going to leave the door open because I'm going to let the dogs in there. And he said, I don't think that you should leave the door open on the back deck. And I said, I'm going to leave the door open on the back deck so I can let the dogs in and out.
And what happened?
And the water from the kitchen froze. Not the hot. The hot was fine. So I had hot water.
Yeah. Have you guys ever noticed there's a theme that goes on with this?
I don't like what you tell me to do.
Right.
And I'm not going to do it.
Right. Drain the tanks. If you don't drain the tanks, the pumps are going to freeze. What happened?
I did drain the tanks. And then I filled them back up.
Yeah.
Because we got a little bit of rain and it was in the 40s. And I thought, hey, I'm going to work smart and I'm going to fill them up and I'm going to use them for the next week. And then I'm going to drain them before it gets really cold again. And then pipes on the back, the water, the cold line froze in the kitchen. And then yesterday it got 32 degrees and it defrosted. So now the cold water there is back on. And then pod 4 is pretty breezy. So the laundry room pipe froze.
You know why God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth? It's because you're supposed to listen more than you talk.
I do.
No, you don't listen. Shut the door. I don't want to shut the door. Pipes freeze. Drain the tanks. I don't want to.
Well, that was the best option for the dogs. So you didn't give me any other suitable. The only other option was to let the dogs in the house. And I did not want to let the dogs in the house. So
Karen, good evening to you.
We have not tried to defrost the laundry room because there's just a breeze coming right into that pod. We have to put what do you want, drywall on that? There's a little closet that's open that is allowing air in. Yeah.
We'll make some changes in the next year. And, I think part of homesteading isn't just working hard because we work plenty hard. It's about being efficient. You guys hear me talk about this all the time.
Being efficient.
But we're going to get through it. It'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was an experience. We learn so much as we go about this life.
Yep. We do. You got something else? You want me to get on to mine first?
Go ahead.
So guys, I want to share some things with you guys tonight that I find just super fascinating. And I'm going to try not to drag this out, but I want to read a little statement a guy made, and I couldn't have said it better myself, but I don't know if you guys know this or not, but right now what's going on is the meetings in Switzerland for the World Economic Forum are going on, and they're sitting over there and they're trying to figure out how to best rule us. And you don't agree?
No, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
They don't say it like that.
No, they what's best for us. But let me see. How would you say that? Bee-earned chickens quietly entered the room and sits in the back row. I hope I said that right. Well, I'm glad you're in the back row, but I hope you don't sit quietly, and I hope you get involved. So Packrat says, B, do you have 3 dogs? Because it just might be that kind of night.
3-dog night. Yep.
Anyway, so I'm gonna add this here. And this was I wonder if I can get this to get bigger on my screen. There we go. I'm going to try to read this to you guys because I think it's just really, really well said, kind of in honor of what's going on tonight. But Lee Camp 6 hours ago said that the richest in the world gather once a year to discuss how to best continue their pillaging of the planet. They wine and they dine in the most grandiose and repulsive ways, causing private jet traffic jams, clogged arteries of servants trying to tend to their every wish. Overexhausted service elevators that can't keep up with the demand of trying to hide the village of humans required to make these utter sociopaths mildly content. Monsters like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, the King of England, the Queen of this or that oppressed people, Zelensky, the Prince of Proxy Wars, and so many others with hundreds of millions, if not hundreds of billions in their bank accounts. Most of them people you've never heard of gather together to give speeches about how best to exploit the wildly exploited. What unites them is simple. A confluence of wealth, luck, and sociopathy has allowed them to rule over many, many other humans in one way or the other. Unfortunately, they don't have lizard skins and horns or any other physical trait allowing us to point them out in public. Their deformed nature manifests itself inside their heads, presenting at least partially as a complete lack of care for their fellow humans. And in their speeches, some of them will say they care about the existential threats like climate change. Others will say they don't. Some will say they care about things like personal liberty and privacy. Others won't. But the end goal is always the same. How do we continue the capitalist exploitation of the average person? Making sure it goes unfettered and full speed ahead. How do we make sure that 10 and 20 and 50 years from now, gut-wrenching inequity continues so that we, the select, the few, the lucky, the elite, can continue to be richer than anybody ever imagined? Nearly drowning in momentary monetary privilege. So much money we could never spend it all. How do we make sure the poor, the beaten, the struggling around the world don't rise up and gain even 1 foot forward in pursuit of equality? Every year, video clips of things said at Davos circulate widely while millions worldwide yell, "See, that's their secret plan." Not so secret, is it? It is spoken on the stage and in front of the camera and then clipped for the internet, approved by a millionaire publicist, then pumped out to the scores of people around the globe. Interesting. They sure do suck at keeping the plan secret. No, I'm sorry, friends. The truly scary stuff is not presented in the TED Talk style format with a PowerPoint for all of us normals to see. The truly scary stuff is behind closed doors, or not even closed doors, closed Zoom calls. I've got bad news for all of those who care about the secret cabals. They don't have to meet up in the Swiss Alps to do damage. Most of the decisions they make that destroy your freedom, privacy, healthcare, retirement, house, security, comfort, savings account, education, future plans, hopes and dreams, and sex life are made when they aren't all getting together to eat, I don't even know what that word is, fetal dolphin tartare paired with a $53,000 bottle of wine. But there's a larger reason they don't have to meet up like teenagers outside of a convenience store in order to implement the variety of oppression and exploitation. That reason is that they all have the same goal in the same broadest sense, because they are all successful in the capitalist colonial system. Therefore, every one of them or their family has become wildly wealthy or powerful via the exploitation inherent in wage slavery or imperial rule. No one is leading the way at the World Economic Forum who did not gain their wealth or influence from signing up for mass exploitation. The poorest one in Davos who have any influence are probably current or former leaders of nations like former U.S. presidents, because those leaders often only have a few $1 million. However, those leaders are only in those positions because they were selected and controlled by the largest capitalist exploiters in the world. There is no true discussion on inequality. There is no discussion of the world beyond capitalism. Therefore, there is no advancement through present, only debate on how the prison bars should be painted for a kinder, gentler oppression and exploitation. As George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. See if I can get out of this now. So what do you guys think about that? I thought that was pretty well written, except I would correct a couple things in there. He talks a lot about capitalism. And guys, this is just my opinion. I think capitalism is the only form of government that will work. The problem is it's got to be free market capitalism. It can't be capitalism that's full of subsidies, and it can't be capitalism where the government picks the winners and losers. It can't be those. It has to be true free market capitalism, and I think that it would work just fine. But beyond those statements, I kind of agree pretty much with most of what he said. What did you think?
Yeah, that's harsh. It was. Yeah.
That's what you have to say?
Yeah, because it's none of that is good.
You mean what? That was your point.
Yeah, none of that is good.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to face. That's what our fight is.
Yeah. Well, I posted.
And I had not seen that before.
You hadn't? Okay.
No, that was not what I thought you were talking about.
I wonder what you read. I sent it to you. Anyway, I thought it was fascinating, but I'll tell you guys, tonight I was watching some of the speeches at the World Economic Forum, and there was a guy that got up there from Argentina, and he gave an amazing speech about liberty and freedom and libertarianism, and some of the things that have gone on in Argentina, which has got them, they're in a mess. I mean, they've gone through mass hyperinflation. They're kind of in front of us as far as what they've gone through. And that government's really having to focus down on what's really important and how to fix it. And, it's funny, they come down to, he talks a lot about property rights. But if you guys go into the description of this video, I linked that video from that speech at the World Economic Forum. And I would encourage everybody to go listen to it because it was not what I expected to hear. But it was certainly pretty interesting.
So there were people that were the speeches that you had heard. You said you went and listened to people talk. There were people there that seemed like they were on our side.
The guy from Argentina was really blasting the West, talking about how we've lost our way and that there's a reason why we became the richest, most powerful country in the history of the world, and it had to do with individual liberty and freedom and free markets and individualism instead of collectivism. Because what happens is, as governments grow and they get more and more wealth, and this is true across the globe, what happens, they begin to focus more and more on collectivism, the collective good versus the individual good and the individual rights. And they begin to get further and further away. It's those individual rights, allowing people to make their own decisions, true free market capitalism, that allowed a lot of that stuff to go. So anyway, I just thought I would share that with you guys because I found it, super, super, super interesting. Hey, Nitos made it to the house. I didn't know whether you're here or not, but we actually sung happy birthday for you.
For Bill.
Well, I don't know which one's on there, but yeah. And Life with Mike and Jen are in the house. Good to hear from you. See if anybody else. Yeah, Karen says, think the guy that made that speech will be invited back next year? Probably not. Probably not. But it was a really good speech. And again, guys, I encourage you. I linked it to the bottom of this description.
Just his speech?
His speech. And it was powerful. I mean,
was he the only one that you saw that was standing up for?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was really, really cool. Let me see here. You just know they invited the Argentinian president to let the leaders know what they were up against. Tag, do you think the U.S. will destabilize Argentina just to get rid of them? I wouldn't be a bit surprised, Pat, right? I mean, I used to think we were the good guys, but I'm not so sure that's the case anymore, So that would not surprise me in the least.
These are so crazy right now.
If they heard us speak in unison with one loud voice and said no, they would quake in their boots and go back to their holes, but we don't, so they won't. I think this is such a great comment. And I think I want to share something with you guys. Let me get that off the screen. So I got into, and we might have, just so you guys know, we might have a few haters in the audience tonight. And the reason we might have a few haters is because I was scrolling through, well, because I mean, yeah. Yeah. Hey, Randy, good evening to you. Sharon, good evening as well. So I was in one of my off-grid Facebook groups, and I was just, we've been cold, so I was just flipping through and reading about, how people heat water tanks and those kind of things. And a young man came on this, I made a post about a request out there, and I want to share with you guys what happened. And I warned.
Did you share his what he said?
Yes, I'm going to share it first. And it was really crazy to me because we are the problem. We are 100% the problem. And I'm going to share this conversation. But anyway, so I basically told everybody what I felt about that. And well, we'll see. But I want to share with you guys the conversation because I think it's just interesting. So this is, and I got 2 pages of this so I can share you guys the whole conversation. But if you look at the top left-hand corner, this guy Justin comes on and he says, hey, I'm in search of someone looking to share their land for off-grid living. Direct message me for more information. And man, you should have seen all the posts that come on here. Like some of them say, sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. Find your local militia. How much are you willing to pay? Join a cult. Learn to spell. How about you go work hard? Pay your land taxes, and then you give up some of your land, freeloader. And just, all of this, crazy stuff. Let me get to the next page here.
I think you're missing the point.
Yeah. And so, the next guy up there says share, as in free. Good luck with that one, And anyway, they just keep hammering on this guy. And he said, I just don't understand how I can, this is the original author. He says, I don't understand how I can be accused of not working hard, all because I don't understand how all this works. I didn't know I could just buy property way out in the middle of nowhere. You guys are what's wrong with this country. Once upon a time, Americans came together to help one another. You guys all just assume this and assume that, and all you end up doing is looking like an ass. And so this was fascinating. And if you guys look at the very last comment, which was mine, I said, in there, you can see under some of his comments where I commented as well. But I said, I do a live every Friday night on YouTube. I think I will talk about this in the thread. And it's amazing to me how people tear others apart instead of encouraging people to find their path to freedom. We are so divided, and it's so sad. I hope Justin and anybody else in that position find exactly what they're looking for. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up tonight Aljo's in the house. Good evening to you. I wanted to bring it up tonight just to say that we are never going to win if we spend all of our days attacking people in our community.
Yeah.
I don't see what that guy said that was so harsh. Now, is he going to be successful at finding someone to let him come out on their land? Maybe, maybe not. But what's wrong with him trying?
Well, that's the thing. You never know if you don't ask.
That's right. I mean, we've talked about bringing on a family that would live in a tiny home or something to help out on the farm because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
We haven't done it for a whole bunch of reasons, but we've talked about it, right?
Yeah.
And I just think it's absolutely crazy, just insane to me that a young man with a young family could get on there and ask a question and get hammered like that from us, from our community. And
I could totally see it. There's all kinds of
it's
people out
ridiculous,
there who are not helpful. And that's the thing. If you're going to you'll find yourself alone if you want to push people away.
I don't know how in the heck I would say this. Hoss Gigs 14. How are you? And welcome. Yeah, Raven woman. Good evening to you, by the way. Said I called out a fake trans woman. Laughed my ass off. Yeah, it's just crazy to me that we would go through that. Nito says could be a great start of a community.
Right. You never know what doors open.
Yeah, that's why they created social media, says Ghetto, the greatest divisive weapon in history. Yeah, but guys, we got to be smarter because at the end of the day, they can wage whatever war they want to wage on us, whatever propaganda. We still make the conscious decision to go in there and attack that young man.
Is he saying that we're easily divided on social media? Is that what he means?
Yeah, and we are easily divided, right? But
it's easy to attack people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that. That guy was out there asking, don't know any better, right? Is in the early stages. Guys, we're all at a different stage in our life and a different stage in the prepping and homesteading world.
I don't see what he asked that was so wrong.
I don't either. I think it is just absolutely crazy. And I think that those people who attacked him like that should absolutely be, ashamed of themselves.
Well, and that's the thing. You never know what people's situations are. If there's probably somebody out there, because we've talked about it, there's probably somebody out there who's interested in having somebody come live on their land, help them garden or move dirt or cut trees down or clear.
Oh.
That's the thing. So like clearing a spot of woods, just to help fell trees and to move them out of the way. And yeah, I got a skid loader and I've got a chainsaw, but I only have so much time. So a young man comes on and says, hey, I can cut those down and throw them into a pile and even build a building with them.
Yeah.
Deal. It's not like when he leaves, he's going to take that building with him if it's stuck on the property. Right?
Yeah. I am a me. Welcome. And you did make it. Oh, this is great. Zach says, our unique prepping says ghetto. Yes, it's a weapon, but we need to use it as a tool. 100% agree.
Very good.
Yeah. Leather says he did not want to be a freeloader. No, he didn't. And in fact, if you read in there, he talked about he'd be willing to pay rent. He'd be willing to give his labor. Oh, yeah. But man, these people just absolutely jumped on him. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, we have got to be better. We have got to take responsibility to do our part plus a little bit. I mean,
gosh,
and be encouraging.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Farm Ranch Homestead says, I have a couple of kids staying on my farm to help them and me. They help with things here and currently don't have to pay rent. I don't see what the problem with this is.
Right.
I absolutely don't, guys. As this thing continues on, the grip's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And more and more people will lose their jobs. More and more people will lose their livelihoods. And I sure hope if that day comes for me and I don't have anywhere to go, that I don't get that.
Yeah. Well,
that I've done enough to earn my way.
That's why community is so important.
Oh, it's so important. It's so important. Social media treated the loss of face-to-face social courtesy that a lot of us grew up with. Yeah. One more rock says there's an old true saying about nurses among nurses that nurses eat their own. New grads are green as grass. Yeah, how sad is that? But guys, I'm going to tell you something. And as I switch over here on this comment, it says I agree with Tag. There's so much division. It's insane. Well, guys, I don't know that it's totally working. I mean, we get some of this divide, and I showed you an example. But let me show you some other examples, okay, of what goes on. I want to share this with you guys. So this is a comment on my channel from a guy named Daryl Ernst. And Daryl is a guy that I've battled with in the comments for quite a long time. And he thinks I'm a statist, even though I would argue that I'm a, free market capitalist. But he thinks I'm a statist. And the truth is, I think he's a tree hugger, which is fine. But so him and I go round and round. We pretty much disagree on immigration. We pretty much disagree on property rights. We pretty much disagree on a lot of those things. But there is so much that unites us. And after one of our conversations that went back and forth, I replied to him and I said, I wanted to thank you, my friend. I want you to know that I appreciate you. I don't agree with you on everything, but I do appreciate your knowledge and leadership because the guy is super smart and he has a lot to offer, especially when it comes to talking about natural law and voluntarism and, some of those kind of things. And I wanted to read you guys, if you guys don't mind, I wanted to read you his response to me because I think this is the key that breaks all of this. He says, it is mutual, my friend, and you are very welcome and thank you. I have much respect for you and all of your efforts to bring about change. When it comes to knowledge and understanding, no two people can ever walk the same path and pick up all of the information along the way. I have been driving without a license for a year and 2 months. Also, no car inspection. If I disappear sometime in the future, you'll know I lost my argument, which I love. I'm alone down here. What could possibly go wrong? However, I have vowed that I will no longer trade my liberty for security. This is really important. What I'm going to say right here, guys, is that what he said, the revolution is in the minds of men and not on the battlefield. And I thought that was
that's smart.
Yeah, I thought that was just super awesome. That there is some of that because a guy like him and I, had I not gone through everything, we probably would have never been friends. And there's a lot of things he says, guys, I'm telling you, I totally just disagree with him. But at the end of the day, we find a way to find that common ground and talk about those things, that unite us. And I think we all have to work hard to get there. Mike says, and that really should say Mario. Why don't that say Mario? You need to change that. That needs to say Mario. Unfortunately, this is what most of the social media platforms do to people. This is why suicide rates are high in that arena of people. Yeah. Don't grip about the young generation. Get a few and help them. See, I totally agree with. This is super, super smart. What do we do, guys, to the next generation of freedom? All of us, a lot of us are getting older, right? I mean, my hair's not turning browner, right? I mean, you're getting prettier, but I'm just aging, right? Right. And so what are we going to do about it? Absolutely crazy. Let me see here. Skip down here just a little bit. Many people recommend that the potential homesteaders lease land, try interning, or ask older people to let them help out for the experience. Looks like when you ask, you get pushback. We need each other. We absolutely need each other. Hey, TB, good evening. Welcome Friday.
Freeze day.
When I wanted to exercise my Second Amendment rights, I started talking to other trusted people with experience. Everyone was willing to show me, guide me, and help me in the right way. Amen. Guys, we got to be able to give of ourselves. I'm telling you, you have to be willing to do your part in a little bit. You have to make yourself be comfortable in those uncomfortable situations, because that's the only place that we're going to grow as a community. If all we ever do is sit in our little bubble where we're comfortable, we're never going to make any ground. Just an absolute fact.
Yeah. Well, when you're always thinking of yourself,
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. I love this. B is like fine wine. Tag is like old chocolate milk. And I would expect that from Jules. Yeah, gotta love it. Well, guys, I want to share something else really special that happened. I started this whole conversation off with how dare our community. But again, it's not 100% right, because there's so many great things. I received an email today, and I actually had to come up here early to get this into my clips because I wanted to share it so much. Those of you guys don't know, I did a live last night with Nadia, Ghetto, and Unique Prepping, and it was a really cool experience. And we enjoyed it, but I got this really interesting email, and everybody contributes something, and you guys have to understand that. We use the terminology here that there's a butt for every seat. But the fact of the matter is, you don't understand your power, and what you have to do is just continue to follow that path, and it will work itself out. So I know that Unique Prepping's in the house, and I hope you're listening. And Ghetto, I hope you're listening to this, because I think this is just such a big deal. I'm going to make this as big as I can make it. Let me see here. So this is an email that I received. I'm not going to share the name of the guy that sent it to me, because I don't want to, betray any of that. But he says, "Hi, Tag. I am the white-headed, bearded codger who talked to you at the KSL Festival during October." So I went and spoke at the Kentucky Sustainable Living Conference down in Kentucky. He says, "As I mentioned during your presentation, I have followed you and B since you became active on YouTube. As the subject indicates, I watched the above discussion." And he's referring to, in this email, the live I did with those guys. "In fact, this episode has made a strong impact on my feelings towards an understanding of fellow preppers and homesteaders. Unique Prepping's act caused me to rethink my attitude towards handicapped people. As a Bible-believing Christian, I have long felt charity was an obligation for the extremely handicapped. But Zach has convinced me that they are also very capable and deserve respect for other than the physical contribution of society. Zach, being extremely physically handicapped, I believe he stated he is inflicted with cerebral palsy, has the mental acuity exceeding most of us so-called normal preppers. It was impressive to see how he managed to get not only his prepared questions on the table, but far more importantly, respond verbally to the rest of the panel. Let me say I am proud to have him in our prepper community. In fact, I would welcome Zach into my mag, and if he would allow, into my tribe. Thanks to our Heavenly Father for this man. I believe we in our prepper homesteading community are fortunate to have Zach actively participating. The scientific physics community had Stephen Hawkins, who died March 18th, 2018 at age 76 in Cambridge. However, we, the prepping homesteading community, have a living, breathing, knowledgeable Zach we can absolutely utilize. In appreciation to you for opening my eyes and ears to accept such an individual as Zach, thank you for your graciousness and kindness."
It was beautiful.
Oh, I'm getting out of that one. That's my next slide, huh? Yeah, so what do you guys think of that? Isn't that amazing? Zach, what do you think of that? Ghetto, what do you think of that?
He's going around changing people's lives.
I know. There you go. Changing people's lives. What's up with that?
Yeah. So for all of you on here, Zach is looking to get monetized.
Yeah.
So he needs his watch hours, which is what Ghetto was talking about last night.
Mhm.
So he needs watch hours, which means you go and you watch his videos.
Yeah, and subscribe to his channel, and let's help him inspire people to do better. Let's help him to do that part. And he wants to play the role. You know,
he does it well.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to figure it out just like the rest of us are. But I think it's important that Zach heard from me that he touched somebody out there. And somebody out there now is a different person because of it.
Oh, I'm sure there's more than one.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, but I can, I shared what I had.
That was really nicely written.
Yeah, it tells me a lot about the character of the man who wrote it.
Yeah.
Right. And I am honored that I could have played the middleman, you know, because the truth is that's just completely, now to American roots, it's badass.
That's so badass.
But it was so exciting. So exciting. All right, I'm going to try to catch up on some comments here because I've missed a whole lot. Mandy Garrett's in the house. Good evening to you. I'm glad you're here. Heidi or Heidi? I wonder how I pronounce that. Homestead, welcome and good evening. Let me see here. It's not a handicapped person. It's a person who has a handicap or disability. Ghetto says I shouldn't be cutting onions while watching this.
Is it dusty?
Yeah, you know them onions, right? Them onions, right? Yeah, Mandy says, I missed you guys the past 2 weeks, and I am starving for my Freedom Community friends. Well, we are glad you are here.
Where have you been?
Yeah. Joel says, I know Ghetto. So damn many onions these last few days. Yeah. One More Rock says, wonderful. Fantastic. You guys were great last night. Unique says, I love this. You are the best. How cool is that? Well, and again, Zach, I hope what you get out of all of that is you made a dent.
Yeah.
We talk all the time about what have you done outside of your own circle to further freedom. Zach, you did it.
He just like mic drop.
Yeah, you did it. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, and I just think it's absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness, I'm way far behind, but I think these are important. So I'm going to keep it plucking. We now put the person first, so we don't say handicapped person. We say person who has a disability. Yeah, that's fine and all that. I don't. You know, I'm not, and I don't want to offend anybody or any of these kind of things, but I'm not getting into the PR thing. Zach's a man just like I'm a man. And, you know, I was reading it as it was written to me, but I'm proud of him and I'm proud that he made a dent. And I would hope that you go to bed tonight, Zach, and be proud of your efforts because you did something outside your circle to further freedom and to further liberty and to further those things. And I'm super proud of you, bud.
Thank you for educating us all.
Yes.
Though.
Yes. Thank you for educating us because a lot of us just don't know. Yeah. You know, let me see here. I was letting Zach's videos run all day and those damn onions were killing me. You know, that's another good way to help somebody get watch hours is just put it on, you know,
just detoxing.
Put it on play and let it go. Yeah.
Just detoxing.
Yep. Terminator said she loved the live. Oh, wow. That's a beautiful letter. Yes, Zach's an amazing person. Aljo says, tag, Zach brought tears to my eyes because my son has ALS and watching him was inspiring. Yeah, it was, you know, inspiring to me. And, you know, I'm not a person that needs motivated very much. You know, I'm a pretty high-driven, high-motivated person.
Yeah.
But, you know, Zach motivates me.
Yeah.
I thought it was really pretty cool.
He got off the live last night. Was like, that was awesome.
Yep. The rising tide lifts all ships, and we are so happy to lift each other up. That is the name of the game.
There you go.
This is why we don't get on Facebook and tell a young man who asks an honest question, we don't bash him. This is why we get on there and we be encouraging. We do it every day. We do it every day. And we do it every day because you don't know who you're going to reach. When you do that, 99 out of 100 people you're going to make no dent in. But I'm going to tell you, there's somebody out there you're going to change their stars because you said it the right way and you put the right words in there and you were encouraging at the right time. Right? Which is why I started the way that I started. Jane says, what's Zach's channel? Can one of the mods put Zach's channel in here for me? And then what I'll do is I'll put it up on the screen. Let me see here. I quit watching because I disagreed with something Spags said, but I will go back and watch it. Yeah, Spags wasn't on there, bud. But
ever? Maybe she's talking about ever.
Maybe, but here's the thing, guys. We don't have to always agree.
Right.
I say all kinds of things people don't agree with. Leather Homestead's in the house, right? And him and I go at it a little bit over the election stuff, right? He thinks that, and other people, Eagle Lover Texas will be another great example in here, who believes we should get our votes together, vote the lesser of two evils. And I get the point. I just disagree with it. But it doesn't mean that I dislike them. In fact,
Right.
they're fabulous people.
Right.
I mean,
and the one time that they say something that you're like, man, then there's 45 other times that you're like, you're right. That's
right.
good. I'm going to write that down.
That's right. Well,
so you'll miss out if you just be like, man.
I've hung out with both of those two people that I just mentioned, and I'd hang out with them every day of the week. We agree on 99.9% of everything. Spags? No, I'm talking about Eagle Lover Texas and Leather Homestead. Right. I mean, I was in Kentucky where like I met this guy for this letter. I hung out in Leather Homestead's tent, his pop up for his leather goods, a whole bunch.
Did it smell like leather?
It did. Oh my goodness, it did. B still sniffing the apron, by the way.
Oh man, I have that bag right by the door so I can smell it back in and out.
Yeah.
It just smells so delightful.
Thank you for sharing that, Tag. It means Zach's doing his job in our community. That's his goal, is to unite us with a different and more compassionate form of thinking. I love it. And it takes all of that, you guys.
Thank you for doing your part.
Yeah. No, thank you for doing your part plus a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
Because that is the key. I had to step away from it going back. This is too good to miss. Yeah, I love it. I was super inspired by it, which is why I began the live tonight the way that I began it. I'm Vicky Pullman. Thank you for subscribing to Zach's channel. And again, we're going to get his channel up here on the screen at some point here. Oh, there we go.
Jules did it.
Yeah, Farm Ranch says, I thought I was the only one cutting onions. Here we go. So I'm going to leave this up here for just a little bit. But there is his channel right there, you guys. Thank you, Eagle Lover, for doing that.
I swallowed wrong.
Yeah, and I'm going to star this one because I'll put it up a couple times during the live tonight. You see, nice purpose of prepping, reevaluated often. Yeah, it's amazing. And this is one thing my whole YouTube channel I never anticipated would give me. Like, I really thought, and you can ask me, that, when I started the YouTube channel or decided she did not want to do it.
No, I wasn't interested.
Yeah, but when we started, I really started it so that I would have a way to complain because, I lost my career over COVID and all that. And I really wanted to just kind of take it, not really complain. Maybe that's not
it wasn't really complaining. It was
fighting back, go out there and at least voice my opinion.
Yeah, get your voice heard. Yeah. And for those who needed to hear it, and for those who just needed somebody to stand behind them so that they could get their voice heard. And so it wasn't really complaining. You don't usually soapbox yourself.
No, that's not
so
me.
It's not.
Yeah, but it was that. But what I didn't understand what it was going to give me is so many relationships and knowing so many people. Because just like I look here in the comments, many of you I've met.
Yeah.
We've hung out, we've drank a cup of coffee.
And many of you we really like.
Yeah. Yeah, most. The disability is just something Zach has. Zach is a person who has a disability, aka person first, then the disability. That's how it's said nowadays. Just sharing that education. I appreciate it. And if I say it wrong, no disrespect involved, but I do appreciate it. Well, dang, my eyes are leaking. Yeah, well, if I can get you guys to cry every live, I think we're going to be winning a lot.
I was going to say the cold weather does that.
Yeah. B, I will tell you one day in person of my adventure of where I have been these past 2 weeks. Yeah, cool. I'm trying to talk B into doing some of these festivals with me because she don't come very much. Actually, really not at all. But
yeah, who will scratch my cow's neck?
Yeah, right. I know. Starla says many people do not want to be labeled disabled or handicapped. They just want to be like any other person.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, again, just
Makes
like
sense.
I talked about how on Facebook, we can react to that guy asking that question, even though some people would think it was a dumb question. We can react any way we want to. This is also true, right?
Right.
I mean, we get to choose how we treat somebody who's different than us.
Or to be offended.
Absolutely. 100%. Yep. Yep. Zach has extra challenges that most of us don't. Incredible strength. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, the beautiful MJ in Wisconsin's in the house. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Yeah. Let me see here. Zach seems like a cool dude. Yeah, he is. We had a lot of fun last night. What I really enjoyed I don't want to derail, but I really enjoyed about the live is watching the body language between him and Ghetto, because they know each other really well, you know, and I know Ghetto from, I did a video with him, and, you know, we've talked a few times and all that, but I don't have that in-depth interaction. It was funny, and Zach was talking to him in sign language some, and they were communicating back and forth.
I didn't see
And
that.
no, yeah, and I was kind of watching it, and you know, like Ghetto would always talk about that was the stern finger, you know, and stuff like that. And so that part to me was probably the funnest, was to watching those things, you know, kind of go back and forth.
Like bros.
Yeah. When I was a teen, I babysat for a couple who had 3 sons, all with disabilities. I learned a lot from those 3 boys. You bet. Yeah, it was really, really cool, guys. And oh, there you go. I'm gonna put it back up. Thank you, American Roots. If you guys remind me through it once in a while to give me that, I'll stick it back up there. And Zach, let's help him get his watch hours and get him monetized. And what I was thinking is, and I talked to Zach a little bit about this, but what I would like to do is put him on a stage.
What?
In
Like somewhere
in you know, the Self-Reliance Festival,
Oh,
or you know, one of them,
right.
get him up on stage to talk about prepping from his perspective. And one of the challenges we got to figure out is the technology wrapped in there. How do I get the right software? And if anybody can help Zach with this to figure out how we can get him up on stage, I will help him get on stage if someone can help me understand software and those kind of things to allow him to get up there and do that. I think it would be great. I'm sure he would be nervous as can be, but I think it would be amazing to pull that off. And I'm telling you, I can absolutely pull it off if we can just figure it out. Let me see here. Salty Dog says, howdy y'all. Great video tagging B. The SOE one was a good one in last night's live. Yeah, earlier in the week, I visited with John and Nicole, which I've done many times. They're awesome.
I like listening to them.
Yeah. Ghetto says, I would urge everyone not to just compliment Zach, but email him and get on his Discord and get to know him. I agree with that. Oh my goodness, I am so far behind. Mean people suck. I agree. All right, guys, I'm going to just kind of Mario has been updated. Right there, look at this. Pie time. Yeah, and it's Mario. It can't be anything but Mario, and there's a whole bunch of reasons why it has to be Mario. Midwest Ribeye says, I work with elementary students that have severe disabilities. They are the most resilient and strong people I know. Yeah. The best way to fight back for us is to help one another. I agree.
Yes.
100%.
That's the key.
Yeah, we answered a few of your questions. Not sure whose channel you were watching from. Let me see here. Tag has called him Mario for a bit, so now he's legit. Yeah, and he is 100% Mario. Hey, Rhonda, good evening to you. Guys, I'm going to, if I missed something, I'm going to skip down here, though, because I am way behind on comments. Thank you, everyone. If you want to contact with me, I'll put my link tree in the video description. It has my Discord. I just joined Freesteading. Yeah, I got a connection request from him on Freesteading this
So
week.
did I. Today.
Yeah.
You got one earlier before today?
Yeah. No, today. Let me see here. I can see him dominating a stripper pole. Oh, my bad. Different stage. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we could do any of these. Yeah, Midwest would work, any of them, but I've got to again get figured out. We need someone with a good technical side to help us understand what has to happen. And then, you know, from there, we'll score it away. Right? Okay. Why don't you talk for a little bit? What you got next on your list? Hey, Pete, what's up, Squatchy?
Did you hear that this is the year of the cicadas?
I did.
Well, I mean, I guess we always have the annual cicadas, but we will have the annual cicadas plus the non-annual.
That's what you got out of that was non-annual?
Yeah, I was like trying to find where I wrote what I was doing. I hate writing in pen because then I have to scratch it out and then I have to like arrow up to where my note is and then I have to scratch it out again.
As you're finding your answer, hey, Todd, not Todd, can you contact Unique and have a discussion? And let's figure out what's needed. And then let the community know. He said he's a computer engineer. How do we get him on stage where he can be the animated person that he is? I just don't know how it all works, but I would love to find a way to work it out. And I will help put it all together. But Todd, if you can reach out to Unique Prepping there, and if you go to his channel, his email's right there. And please connect with him and let's see if we can figure out a way to make it work. But thank you for stepping up. You the man.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, well, guys, that's what a community is, right? Okay, so go ahead. So what your
Yeah,
non-annual
periodical.
Periodical. There you go. Okay, so it's
that's where see the arrow down to, and then it says food source, tastes like shrimp, lobster. Anybody ever try a cicada? Yeah, so there's like the brood X19 comes every 13 years, and the brood 13 comes every 17 years, both to be hitting in May.
Yeah. You know, what I read, it was like the first time in like, I don't know, 2,000 years or so, whatever, some like super, maybe 200 years, where we're going to have the annual cicadas, and then both of those, what's the word?
Periodical.
We're going to have the annuals plus both periodicals. They're saying a lot of the, we're going to have a massive cicada year, and it's going to get super, super loud.
Yeah, who's going to taste them?
This year. Yeah. Who's going to taste them? Yeah, that's right, because
they taste like shrimp.
Yeah, they say they taste like shrimp. They're related. They're in the same family as shrimp and lobster.
So if you are allergic to shellfish, you should not consume them. The periodical ones, they have red eyes instead of black eyes. And they say that they're loud, like a lawnmower, like 100 decibels loud.
Todd, not Todd. Thank you very, very much. I think that's awesome. Hey, RN. Good evening. You're not late. Hello, Tag and B and the whole Life Done Free gang. Sorry I'm late. My dog used to love to dine on cicadas. I'm interested to watch the turkeys and, you know, all the animals.
Fresh.
Yeah. But they were saying that in a square acre, that there could be millions per square acre.
Upwards of 2 million per acre.
Yeah.
I saw that too.
Yeah. Amen. Pack Rat's right on. It's good to save money on chicken food this year.
So if you are going to be planting young trees, you need to protect them with mesh, because the cicadas will lay their eggs on them and hurt the bark. So if this is a year you're going to be mass planting, perhaps you should take precautions.
Pete says fry them up with eggs and garlic. Starla says fried cicadas and chocolate sauce.
I don't know if you're...
American Root says, what is that word?
Oh, no.
Nia's told Joe cicadas aren't kosher.
Oh.
They might not be kosher. Chicken
They
food.
might not be kosher.
Eagle Lover says, that means a greenhouse or wall opinion needs to be available this year for B. Yeah, I got so much to do.
Yeah.
I'm starting on the community building as soon as the spring happens. So we'll see where it takes me after that.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that the gardening thing this year, I'm going to see if any community members want to go insies on worky, and then we could harvest together and perhaps can the stuff together. Go, halvesies on it. If you want to worky, you can eat.
I'm a me said I found you on Danny Owana. So glad I did. Tag and B. I wish we were neighbors. I wish it too. I wish we could just take a whole state and put every like-minded person in it.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Jonathan says, what was this about mass planting?
Mass planting.
Tell Jonathan.
Which part? If you're going to plant trees, then you got to cover them for the cicadas?
No, you're talking about everybody working in the garden.
Oh, yeah. If we're going to do a community garden, you come and weed and then come and harvest and then come and can and then take home and eat.
Let me see here. Farm Ranch says, if 2 million per acre, then I'll have close to 100 million of them on the farm. Yikes, I need more chickens.
Yeah. Or you can maybe can them for your own pleasure later.
Yeah. Let me see here.
Like little shrimpies.
Louise says, Mimi. Yep. So she wants to help in the garden. And guys, we got plenty of space. So grow anything you want. Take home what you want. It's not.
We can do a salsa garden. We can do a sauerkraut garden. We can do
So the cicada invasion that they were talking about is mostly in the Midwest. And, some states like Iowa is going to get hit particularly hard.
Yeah.
They're talking about. But so just kind of the center part of the United States is where it's going to be, or where the majority of it's going to be. What Chris says, well, the government wants us eating bugs.
I know. I was thinking about that. How different would that be than you eating the cricket powder that they're putting in the food now? So
a lot of tree and garden bed netting.
Bed netting.
Yeah. Well, they say though, I read up on this a little bit, that the cicadas will not harm your produce in your garden. They won't eat the leaves, and they
It's
won't
the
eat the
new
produce.
trees, right?
Yeah, it's the brand. Well, the only reason they hurt the new trees is because they lay their eggs on them.
On the bark.
Yeah, because their only job is to get out, breed, lay eggs, and die. So they won't hurt anything like that. One Step Closer says, think of all the squash we could grow in the community garden.
Mm-hmm. One plant would feed us all.
Would neem oil help protect the trees? I'd have to do some research. I'm not sure, but where you're at is one of the areas supposed to get hit hardest. So I bet you can catch them, toast them, and sell them on the Asian market. Probably. Yeah. Does anybody have any information about squawking guineas?
Oh.
I'm only kidding, but sure wish they were a quiet variety. Yeah, they're so loud.
They are loud. They're pretty loud before I go in there. When I throw chicken scratch on the ground, they get pretty quiet.
I don't know what a loober is, but gotcha. We always have issues with loobers here in North Florida. We don't have them here, so I don't know what that is. Oh yeah. This is absolutely true. Cicadas make great cat fun snacks. Yeah, yes, they do. Yeah, they can be ground up and composted. There's some good ideas in here. Yeah, in permaculture, the saying is, you don't have a bug problem, you have a lack of chicken, turkey, and guinea hens. Oh, Midwest said just planted fruit trees. Yeah, so what they were saying is put screens around them, like put some netting around them to protect them. But from what I read, where you're at, bud, that's going to be significant. Are these the same people that forecast the weather? Probably. Again, it was the internet, so it's true, right?
That's the thing. You just never know what you read on the internet now.
Right.
Used to be a place where you can go and get information. Now you can actually get the what you want to see and then the opposite of what you want to see.
Neem oil or dormant oil spray will suffocate the eggs. May need to reapply during the season. Oh, very good. Looks like we've got some research to do. Had a bumper crop of squash bugs last year. Hateful beasties. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if the guineas, if you let out a bunch of guineas in a garden, what they do to the garden. I've
heard ducks too. That ducks eat a lot of bugs, but won't hurt the plants.
It starts out as a small black grasshopper with an orange stripe, then grows into a huge one about 3 inches long, and they will devour your plants. Oh my goodness! So like a super big grasshopper.
Yeah,
is a loober. What she meant to say was cicadas make great cat kazoos. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the turkeys and everything do with them, because we got big turkeys out there.
I hope they eat them.
Yeah, I bet you that they do.
Because like when we get the hornworms, some chickens will eat them. Most of them won't.
Yeah.
Some of them fight over them.
Yeah.
But then again, some of them fight over snakes too, and the rest of them are like, no.
Yeah. What we like to do is we get a lot of the Japanese beetles, and I've made some traps from bee. If you guys are interested, you can go back in our videos, and I showed how I did it out of buckets. But we can set them out, and hours later they'll be full.
Yeah.
And so I take them and just dump them for the chickens, and man, it's like a buffet line.
They like them when they're alive.
Yes. If they're dead, they pretty much don't mess with them. But if they're alive and crawling, the chickens will tear them up.
Yep.
Which is super, super cool. Let me see here. We have ticks, fleas, chiggers, and mosquitoes so bad. Yep, guineas. Keep your guineas. Let me see here. Homesteaders Workshop. Hey, Life with Mike and Jen. It's all about the research, right? Yep, 100%. Yep, the Homesteaders Workshop. Are you you got a channel? I think they do.
Is that what that means?
I think that's what that means. I don't know. I do not know.
Well, everybody has the same thing on theirs. Everybody.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. But I'm going to look it up here real quick, because if there is, Homesteader Workshop. Oh, there is one. Let's check it out.
It's not the same picture.
No. I don't know. Let me know if there's a channel out there. I don't want to spend a ton of time digging, but I don't see it. Anyway. Leather says you can tie a thread on them and fly them around.
Maybe it's the.
Yeah, maybe. That's good. Let me see here. I know Mom did a Velcro collar on roosters and guineas to quiet them down.
A collar?
Your namesake was eating them, Tag. That's good, Scanes. She named one of her pets after Tag.
Mm.
So that's what she's referring. Oh, Life Magnet says there are friends in Tennessee. Oh, rock on. Well, pretty lucky to have friends with Mike and Jen, huh? They're kind of wild child. Mario is, at least. Jen's mellow and controlled. But if anybody wants to have some fun, get in a high-speed race car with Mike. You'll
like,
have
like the Mario Kart.
Well, that's part of where Mario comes from. There's a whole bunch of things that makes Mario Mario.
He's like chupacabra.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
All right, what else you got, Pumpkin?
Got my turkeys ordered.
What'd you order?
Turkeys. I ordered Narragansetts.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered 20 of them.
Yep.
Hoping to start a flock of purebloods.
Pure blood important to you?
Yes.
We're going to talk about
Yeah,
that
they're
later,
supposed
too.
to be good moms. They're
Mhm.
supposed to be good foragers.
And mild temperament.
Yes, and we have 2 right now, and they are so sweet.
Yeah.
One comes to you. She wants you to pick her up.
Yeah. How many turkeys you got now? You got 14?
Yeah, I have 7 and 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got 14 now, but we just ordered 20 more. But that's the truth is when you get them, half of them are going to die. So.
Yeah, I got Tommy right now has a infection on his eye. I don't know if it's his eye. It's something. His whole cheek right there is puffy and dark purple. And so I've been putting the terramycin on it. The tube is metal. It's a little tiny metal tube. And so when you put it in your pocket and you pull it out a couple times, sometimes the metal flaps a couple times and then it punctures a hole in it and then it squirts out in different directions. And I hate those tubes. But anyway, so I've been nursing this tube trying to get as much ointment out to treat this bird. And today my Valley Vet supply order showed up. So I was skipping down the birds with my new tube of eye ointment. Yeah, and then I couldn't get them out of the roost.
For those of you guys who don't know, Valley Vet Supply is a company located in Kansas that we do a lot of business with. And they're just super easy to do business with. They can get anything.
And you can get that kind of thing until September.
Yeah,
you'll need a prescription. So
what she got in her order, they told her that 100% of what she ordered will need a prescription come September. So I told her to, buy a bunch.
Buy a little bit every month until September.
Yeah. Have you started any seeds yet?
I have not started any seeds.
It's
yet.
Too early here.
Yeah, the greenhouses. I mean, since we started that concrete work and the blocks, we pulled dirt away from the greenhouse and the breeze is coming right in. Yeah. So there's a little jelly of Lou's greenhouse that she's got because she's like, it's 90 degrees in here. And I'm like, or it was 70 when it was negative 20 outside. And I was thinking, that would be delightful.
By the way, I discovered extra giant squash bugs with a hump on their back are called wheel bugs and dine on squash bugs, stink bugs, and the like. But they will stab you with their long snout if you harm them. Really?
Wow.
Wheel bugs. Did you get the delivery of your 55 gallons of honey yet?
No, I found another person that I'm testing the honey. Mm-hmm. So I've got it melting in the kitchen right now. Not melting, but warming up in the area of the wood stove. So you just set it in there and it'll reconstitute within a little bit of time. So I'm not doing anything to it. I'm not putting it on the stove. I'm not putting it to heat at all. I'm just sitting it next to the stove as its ambient heat.
Hey, Homestead Workshop, Leather Homestead wants you to know they're in Middle Tennessee, and Leather Homestead are great people. So super easy to reach out to him. And if you want, you're welcome to get my contact information from Mario. And I'll be happy to connect you guys if you guys want me to. Let me get down here. Check Rain Country for the wash she used on her dog. See if it'll work on your turkey.
Oh, the eye?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. So I don't know if it's its eye. I tried to open its mouth and look in its mouth, its cheek area. I tried to investigate, but it's kind of hard as it's like fighting me. They want to be by you until you want to touch them, and then they don't want to be by you anymore. So I have to like, wrangle it around to try to hold its head and open its mouth, look at its mouth.
Yeah, I'm amazed. Says my husband remembers the last time the cicada thing happened. He was a kid, and his dog ran around with wings in his mouth all the time. Yeah, I don't know what to expect, but
a lot of cicadas.
Bigby.
Butyricerin
has a poultry spray now.
Is that something for
I don't know.
medicine? I'll write it down.
Yeah.
I'll write that down.
Yep. Okay, cool. I'm caught up. You ready for the next topic? You want me to put it back on the screen?
No, it's like terramycin vetera. So
I put it on the screen.
Yeah. So it's a spray instead of an ointment.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk. You ready for a new topic? Everybody ready for a new topic?
Yeah.
I'm ready. Okay. So check this out, guys. We're winning, right? We talk about winning all the time. So we have a bill in Kansas now that passed both houses. And so I thought I would share this with you guys because, there's a lot of pressure that's going on behind the scenes from a lot of different people around, well, definitely in my state and some other states. But this says Kansans from every walk of life will get immediate and ongoing tax relief, especially for those who have been most burdened by inflation, our workers and our families, the senator continued. Meanwhile, Representative Hawkins pointed to the property tax relief component. Property taxes are the most hated tax. I agree, and should be the number one fight we're fighting, by the way, guys. It's the one thing that keeps it from ever getting truly free. This bill more than doubles folks' property tax exemptions and sweetens the governor's proposal a bit by automatically adjusting that exemption for inflation so that benefit continues to give back as inflation rises. That's interesting. They didn't say if. Right? Did you notice that? They didn't say if inflation rises. They said as.
As it rises.
Yep. Senator Carolyn Tyson, who I know, championed the bill's impact on the pocketbook of taxpayers. It is a tax break for all Kansans, especially those who have been struggling to make ends meet. Tyson said retirees are now just a signature away, and they're referring to the signature of the governor, a signature away from their Social Security being tax-free. Homeowners are just a signature away from having their property taxes go down, and workers are just a signature away from seeing their paychecks grow and their grocery bills sharing. And all Kansas taxpayers are just one signature away from enjoying a taxpayer-friendly, simplified code with built-in tools to directly combat inflation to ensure the impact of this tax bill never diminishes. Now, why do I always go to my next slide? See, and then you guys know what's coming. Anyway, what do you think about that?
How are they going to manage that?
I don't know.
Increase something else.
Well, I would be fine with that, though. Double my income tax and take away my property tax. Whatever it is. Maybe not my income tax. That's a lot. But
that's a lot.
Sales tax. Gasoline at the gas station. I know, but here's the thing. I can choose whether or not to buy gasoline. I can choose whether or not to buy the refrigerator.
Really?
Yes, I can choose.
Go buy an electric car?
I'm just saying
you have to have gas in order to go anywhere.
Yes, my point is you can make some choices in what you buy and what you don't buy. But with property tax, babe, you never own anything. At the end of the day, all you got to do is see how much you own to stop paying your property tax.
Yeah. So you mean like if you have to double your gas tax, then you'll get a motorcycle.
Property tax break here in Texas did not help us none. We have 5 properties.
Property tax.
Yeah, I don't have guys like a whole lot of hope that it'll be a big difference. But what I'm glad is that the conversation is going on about property tax is the most egregious tax, and it is. In Arkansas, there are so many taxes. Yeah, guys, you got to fight it at every corner, be it every county commissioner's meeting, be it all of them. Voice your opinion. Again, don't forget, we have to do our part plus a little bit. We can't just focus on what happens right in our little homestead. We have to do more, or it will never happen. The Amish use horse and buggies, no gasoline needed. At least you'd have choices, right? I mean, I could go buy an electric golf cart that would get us, around to town and back. Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds. At least, again, you would have some kind of choices. So I'm proud of it. I'll keep you guys posted on what happens. But
so you said her. This is a fight that she's been trying to do for a while.
Yeah. Well, no. I just know her from some of the stances she made. I've met with her in person a couple times on some other business related items, and she seems like a decent lady, and she's kind of spearheaded it. And so we shall see. Let me see here. Yep, like Micah Jen says, Mandy, we are in Madison County, quite high for sales tax. Yeah. To me, sales tax at least makes everyone pay into the system. Well, it does that, but it also, at least you have a choice, you know? Wow, sounds like Kansas is poised to come out ahead in the Freedom Index among the U.S. states. I'm hoping so, and I'm hoping I mean, I know we don't have a direct impact on it, but we pressure a lot, and I'm hoping that we can begin to push those things. And if everybody in every state will push those things, that's the thing that everybody has to understand, is that once one state kind of falls and there's a precedence, then it's easier for the other states, right? Nobody wants to be the first one. Now, Kansas wouldn't be in this case, but let me see here. I think it's not just county; it's whole Arkansas. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. The list of taxes people pay is endless. People don't even realize how many taxes they actually pay. Well, I can tell you that the average person in America today pays 59% of their income in taxes. Yeah. If you combine them all, which means you get to keep 41%.
Yep, but she's right. The majority of the people don't realize what.
I think you should have to keep track of your taxes for a year and just pay attention to what you actually pay, because when you see it, it's a whole big old deal. And then you get to keep 41 cents that you made. So basically what that means is you start your year, you're working from January through June for free.
Yeah.
And you get to keep what's left over. But the crazy thing is you take that and then you take it and spend money somewhere, and they get the same 59% treatment. Tag, what do you think about people who don't participate in taxes but use things they pay for? Well, I mean, again, this is why I think we need to get a complete revamp of the tax system. I mean, because I think anybody who drives on a road should pay their fair share of that road tax, right? But on the flip side of that is, if I choose to homeschool my kids, why do I have to pay the taxes for the schools? Because then I'm having to pay double the cost, because I have to pay to
actually educate them.
Yeah. So I'm 100% for a fair tax, especially if it works both ways. Last year, 60% of all money that left my account was for taxes. Guys, that's the way it is. And it's only going to get worse. As the dollar continues to lose its value, they're going to need more and more of them to keep up with their overseas wars and their, the things that are going on. And guys, I'm telling you, battling Trump right now is not a cheap endeavor, right? It costs a lot of money, and you need to do your part. Yeah. Did you not think that was funny?
Yeah.
I don't understand why taxes need to be paid on used cars when the taxes were paid on it when it was new. I could not agree more. I don't know why. I mean, you buy a house, you're going to have to pay taxes on it. Like, that would make some sense to me. But why you have to pay it every single year?
You pay personal property taxes on your car every single year,
which is a joke.
Even after it's paid off.
Which is a complete joke. But let me see here. New Mexico is the first state whose governor is trying to take away our Second Amendment rights, and we are trying to impeach her. Wish us luck. Yeah, that will be a good example for other states. I love that. Yeah, keep us posted, LJC. I'd be interested in what happens, The California Republican got passed a law that gives illegals free health care. Started January 1st. Both sides have bankrupt my kids' future. Yeah. And I know this is going to be an unpopular thing to say, but vote with your feet. Because the fact of the matter is, it's not just get out of Cali. It's either that or get enough people to vote together to make a difference. Because the county, and this is what's nice about the small rural communities. My commissioner here, where in the county that I live in, the next one that gets elected is going to get elected with like 250 votes. That's it. I mean, so it's a lot easier to make a dent when you're there.
When you're small.
Yeah, no state income tax, and now you're talking. See, Big B, I would disagree in one say this. I would rather pay the income tax and not pay the property tax, assuming dollars were equal. Because again, at the end of the day, I can decide whether to have income or not, right? But when I get to be 75 years old or 80 years old and I'm on a fixed income, I still have to pay those property taxes on something I paid off years ago. B and I, our house is paid for, but I still have to pay taxes on it. We keep all receipts, and what you're saying is true. About 54% goes to taxes, and we have no taxes on food or nor state income tax, right? Right. They're just getting it somewhere else, right?
They don't have food tax?
Yeah. Social Security is tax. Social Security is theft anyway, but to tax it again, that's highway robbery. Yeah, I'm excited that Kansas is adopting no taxes on Social Security. At least it'll help the people in the greatest amount of need. Okay, Tag, if you're in charge of the tax system, what would you do as far as tax is concerned? I'd go to a flat tax. That's it. We don't need 900 taxes. I mean, I think at the end of the day, we would create a system where you could file your taxes on a, postcard. It shouldn't be that complicated. People should pay their fair share, but let's say everybody pays 10% of their income. Done. That's the end of it, and off you go. And maybe that's not enough. Maybe it has to be 20%, whatever it is. But I would go to a flat tax, and I would get rid of personal property tax, and I would get rid of income tax, and I'd get rid of all those silly things, but they'll never do it because each one of them gives them an opportunity to raise taxes.
Yep. Did I tell you when I was talking to the accountant, he said, I want this paperwork. And I was like, I said something about that doesn't apply to me. And he goes, look, if I have to pay it, you have to pay it too.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not fair.
If everyone had to pay tax in cash in one lump sum at the end of the year, there would be a revolution. Yep. And a lot of people in jail because nobody can save money. You get both of those. Yeah, this is 100% true. I think I read that one right. Yep. Let me see here. I agree. If you have no income, then no tax. But if you have property tax and no income, you're screwed. Yeah. And I know old people who are struggling to pay those bills right now, even though their farm has been paid off for 30 years.
Yeah. Oh, longer than that. That farm has been in her husband was born in that house.
We vote so far right here and lose constantly. Everyone we talk to does the same. So, yep, John Galt for president.
Yeah.
2024. I'm sorry, they're talking to each other. Sorry, guys. I want to have the right to not pay into Social Security. I'm too young to ever see it. Guys, I'm going to tell you the amount of money I've paid into Social Security, if they would have let me have it, I'd have so much more money than I will ever get. That's such a scam. An absolute scam. 10 cents on the dollar tax and no money sent to other countries. Yeah, well, the government needs to work inside the parameters of the Constitution, right? Now, their job is to protect us, 100% true. And I don't know what that flat tax is, but I would love to go to a flat tax. Todd says, okay, got to run. I may be back before you're done, but not making promises. All good. Hey, and thank you for your help. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Have a good weekend.
Yep. If Walmart has self-checkout, why can't the IRS? Gary Davis, you're a savage. Love it. Do you think the crown has anything to do with proper tea taxes? Do you think the crown has anything to do with proper tea taxes? There isn't a tea tax. I wonder what he's talking about maybe back then. You're talking about back in the day of the revolution and I'm not sure what you mean. All right,
maybe he's referring to the taxes that we pay now.
Well, I mean, the crown has everything to do with the taxes we pay now because they've got to keep up their, lavish lifestyles. I mean, they couldn't afford to fly all the way to Switzerland this week for the World Economic Forum in their big jets if we weren't doing our part, right? What you got something you want to talk about? Or you want me to just keep going?
No, go ahead.
Going to the next one. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, this was interesting. So, guys, there was a lot of stuff going on through this cold snap, right, where the services, so the infrastructure in our country were challenged, and I just put a few of them up here. So, first one was in Kansas. Water emergency forces Burlington residents to conserve H2O. So, in Burlington, Kansas, which I know the town super, super well, they couldn't keep up, and so they were asking everybody to ration their water.
So it was just because they didn't have enough?
Yeah.
Because Topeka was on a boil water
for
too much chlorine.
Yep. It said the system struggled to keep up with demand.
They didn't have enough.
Yeah. Yeah. The next article right over there says that TVA asked customers to limit electricity use as the frigid temperatures challenge the grid. I got two more here.
So in that situation, they didn't have enough also.
That's correct. ERCOT calls on Texans to reduce electricity use for a second straight morning as cold tests the power grid. And then Reuters reports Canada's grid issues alerts asking citizens to cut power use amid winter storms. Guys, if this doesn't tell you that the things that we have in our life today, those luxuries are fragile.
That's like heat and water are sometimes not luxuries. Sometimes they're necessities.
Yeah. I think energy is the issue of our time. I mean, I really think costs are going to explode.
To the consumer.
Well,
Is that
yeah.
what you're talking about?
Yeah, you guys, here's the problem. They've neglected the power grid for so long that the cost to upgrade the power grid now,
You're talking about the actual structures.
the actual grid,
the power lines.
That's all of it, the whole thing. Because it's, there's a lot of it that's still 50s and 60s technology, and so the cost to do it is exorbitant. And now look at what's up with interest rates and inflation, and I don't see any way that energy just doesn't completely go through the roof. See, our government is offering a program through them to do everyone taxes. I do my own. I don't trust the government. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Hankers Raw 54. Good evening. Says I knew a person who owned over 1,000 acres and had to keep selling portions off to pay the taxes. Was down to only 40 acres and didn't know how long he'd be able to keep it.
Oh my God.
Guys, remember when they said you'll own nothing and be happy? They're not just going to show up at your door one day and take it away. This is how they do it. Right? This is exactly how they do it, is what he's talking about.
Not in a bang. A little
Oh, sorry,
whimper
they're
here
talking
and
together.
there.
Property.
Property.
Oh, got it. Property. Got it. I didn't catch that. Oh, sorry. I don't mean to click on the ones where people are chit-chatting back and forth. Sorry, guys. What I don't get is we pay tax on gas and that it's supposed to take care of the roads and the highways, I believe, but yet we have to pay tariffs to use the interstates. Yeah, it's a complete scam. This is why they'll never go to a flat tax, because you would know about each individual increase. When now what they get to do is just like the highways are paid out of 4 or 5 different taxes, they can totally manipulate those monies, Yeah. Hey, my buddy Mode's in the house. How you doing, bud? Says the best way to avoid is to not make income or minimalize. Can't tax what you don't make. Spend your time and efforts like Galt, not making money, but creating an outside system. Yeah, I think that's perfectly said. I think the challenge with that, though, there comes a time where you have to pay property tax. And I know a lot about Mo's story, and Mo went at it the right way. He built his buildings and all of those things in an effort to minimize his tax exposure, which is super smart. In Arkansas, if you work outside the state, you get taxed even more. That don't sound like I want to go live in Arkansas. Hey, Helen, good evening to you. Let me see here. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I was watching ERCOT. They suddenly got committed production the morning of the cold snap. Yeah. Think about how many times $1 gets taxed. Think about it. Oh, yeah. Actually, I've done the math. I've followed that math all the way out. And in less than 4 transactions, the government has all the money back, because they get me at 59%, and then I take the 41%, and I go give it to somebody, and they get 59%, and then they take that. And it's about 4 transactions. Prep for primitive and you won't be surprised. That's good advice.
Oh, yeah.
I see what you are doing, getting us fired up to be active in local politics. Yes, Big B. Guilty. Guilty as charged. Yes, I am 100% guilty. ERCOT saying that, but yet 20% electricity goes out of the state. Yeah, there's so much that goes on. My brother has 1,000 acres in Arkansas. I wonder how much tax he paid every year. Power plants can't be made in time to help, particularly nuclear. Yeah, no. But I'm telling you, energy is going to be the issue.
How long would it take
energy.
to replace all that?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't even know if we could find enough workers to do it. I mean, look at the labor market today. Every company's advertising for help. They're going to have to pay big wages, and it would be astronomical to really make it down. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of miles of interstate.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the power poles you see when you drive up and down roads and all of those. I mean,
that's just the ones that are above ground.
Yeah, which it's been neglected for all of these years, which makes it just that much more expensive. I really think that it's going to become super expensive to have energy.
Like double, triple.
More. Where your electric payment,
where you give a $300 bill, you're going to have.
Where your electric payment is similar to your mortgage.
Oh.
Like super expensive. Yes, I believe that to be true.
How do they expect people to pay for that?
Well, I'm not really sure, babe, but I think they want you working 3 jobs or 4 jobs. They want you renting, not owning. They want you, yeah, it's a mess. You see here, but yet Jerry Nader said we need illegal immigrants to pick our vegetables or we won't eat. Yeah. All right. Well, that one was fun. What's my next one?
Not really.
Oh, here's something interesting. Here's the good news. The government's on its way to help. So the Department of Energy announced yesterday, no, I'm sorry, January 18th, that they have donated or allocated $34 million for 12 projects across 11 states to strengthen the Americans' aging power grid. So that means that these 12 projects on average are going to get less than $3 million a piece. That ain't gonna
11 different states.
It ain't going to do
too.
nothing. It's going to make no impact. They're not committed to fixing the grid. This is not a commitment, guys. I know for you and me, 34 million is a lot, but
that's not a lot for each project.
No, babe, that ain't going to do nothing. That is going to do absolutely nothing. What that is saying, look, we care.
So then what are they going to spend that on? I mean, they have to spend that money on something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it says the selected projects will develop cost-effective, high-speed, and safe undergrounding technology to help upgrade the nation's grid infrastructure.
So this is just for the technology.
But 34 million ain't going to go anywhere, babe. Yeah, I'm telling you, that ain't going to do nothing. Local government's involvement is so important when boards try to annex county properties into the cities where they are grabbing more and more. Couldn't agree more. See, you reverse mortgages back to the government on your property to pay your taxes and power bills. You will owe nothing and you will be happy. Bingo. Bingo, bingo, bingo. I was listening to Tucker Carlson interview with the actor Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid was talking about solar flares and EMP attacks, said transformers weigh 500,000 pounds each and come from China. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to get one would be on average a 7-year wait. So the ones they want to replace 7 years from now, they're ordering now. And so if they were to attack the power grid like that, it could be years and years before we had power. And you think that there's a bunch of mobs going on now, and you think there's crime now, and you think all of those things go on now, just wait. Just wait till there's no electricity. Yeah, this is again why community is so super important.
Well, yeah, because you're not getting help.
Yeah,
you're not calling for help.
Yeah,
they're not coming.
Jonathan, which I'm not going to say anything that he would want me to say, but knows this because of what he does for a living. But he says, so a $3 million project is like what, replacing 5 power poles? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is just not very much money at all. That's less than what we sent to Ukraine every single day. Yeah. So what's that tell you about their priorities? Which we're going to talk about that tonight about World War III. I got a whole bunch of information that I'm going to share with you guys that's happening or happened or those kind of things. But this is exactly right, LJC. This is exactly right. If the power grid's not important. Most of the money they say is being sent on infrastructure is funneling back to liberal nonprofit organizations. That's right. I could not agree more. Could not agree more. You guys want to see what's interesting? So you know that we just crossed $34 trillion in debt.
That's the debt clock.
Yep. So I took a picture of this debt clock yesterday for the live tonight. And it's the article, though, talks about record high national debt is a fiscal time bomb for the U.S. Congress must diffuse it. And I'm not going to get into too much of this other than I would be curious to know from you guys about our national debt. Who owns the debt? You know, I hear a lot of people talking.
China.
I hear a lot of people talking about, you know, we're owned by other countries. Would you guys agree with that? Who owns the debt? Any idea?
Russia.
Starla says, think about it. 34 trillion in debt is $86,000 a second in interest.
Oh my God. That doesn't make you feel
I'm going to read that again. Think about it. 34 trillion in debt is $86,000 a second in interest. Our Congress cannot balance a budget, just always continuing resolution. Our government is a failure. Yep. Eagle Lover says the Federal Reserve. Yeah, we do. Yep. China and the Federal Reserve. Well, what's interesting, I don't know if you guys know this. So I actually took the time to go and get all of the numbers, and I put it in a Hakers Ross says China owns most of our debt. Japan and China mostly, but there's a ton of countries that own our debt. See, this is the thing. I think this is what's being told, and I think it's a fear tactic. But the fact of the matter is that's not the truth. And I'll show you. So I actually went and did this today because I thought you guys might find it interesting that 23% of our national debt is owned by foreign countries. So that is China, that is Japan, that is all of the foreign countries combined own 23% of our national debt. Okay, so basically the other 77% of the national debt is owned by either the Federal Reserve, which represents 16%, hedge funds, which represent 21%, or private investors, which represent 40%.
Huh.
Okay, so that money is locked up in the stock market, basically.
Is that
So
what that means? The
well,
private investors?
some of it. So like the hedge funds, for example, those will be purchased by insurance companies and municipalities for like retirement plans, right? Stuff like that. The Federal Reserve, I mean, they're printing the money and then buying the debt, right? Which tell me there ain't something wrong with that. And then private investors, you know how they've got us. And I could go on a rampage
It's like
here, you guys.
phony money. They're
Oh, yeah,
printing the money and then
so-
buying the money with.
Well,
They're buying the debt with the money they just printed.
not are they doing that, but they're also convincing you to do it too. Because what they tell us, and you guys who know me know that I come from finance, they tell us that we need a very diverse portfolio.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Okay. And so what a diverse portfolio means is you want some high risk stocks and some safe bonds.
Yes, yes.
This is the bond.
So you're buying your own debt back.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're convincing you that everybody
You're
should
buying
own.
somebody else's debt.
No, what you're buying is money to be sent to the Ukraine.
Ah.
What you're buying is, money to be sent to all these other programs, which are not fixing our grid, by the way, right? What you're doing is you're paying for those things. So they've convinced the American people. And if you look at it, 40% of our national debt is held that way in portfolios, basically, of one form or the other, because it's known as the safe investment.
It is.
That makes you feel all warm and fuzzy, doesn't it?
No.
Yep, you're telling the truth. I know. I looked up the numbers. I just put these numbers into a pie graph because I thought it would be easy to understand.
Because I like pictures.
Yeah, my wife does like pictures. And let's not forget the Federal Reserve is not federal and has no reserve. Yeah, so if you look at this, all of these, with the exception of the blue, all of these are privately held. Because the Federal Reserve is a private company, hedge funds are private, and the investors are private. So the 23%, this is the big boogeyman that China owns us. Now they own quite a bit. Don't discount. I'm not discounting that, but
23%. Well, that's not just China. That's other
all
countries.
That's all other countries combined owns 23%. Yep. A problem with no solution. Yep. Can we buy bonds in Afghanistan? I'd rather invest there. Yeah, I'd rather invest there too. Yep.
We have.
I don't have any debt to sell you is the problem. Damn it. Because you guys know that's what a bond is, right? It's a debt issuance. Yep. Bartering is more valuable. Yep. 4 transactions. It is 4 transaction issue. And it's so crazy that they get all their money back in 4 transactions, and yet we're still $34 trillion in debt. I mean, what does the non-federal, non-reserve charge in interest? Well, it depends, right? So I think now, I haven't looked in a long, long time. I mean, it's grown a bunch, but I would bet you now it's in the 3% maybe now. But again, I haven't looked in a long, long time, Big B, because I just don't pay attention to it anymore like I used to. NATO members pledged to pay 2.9% of their GDP to NATO. Only 10 countries do, and 2 are not even in Europe, Canada, and the U.S. And the U.S. pays more than 2.9% to defend Europe of all things. Yeah, this is why they need all of this, right? We are being convinced and sold this lie that we should diversify our portfolio, make sure we buy bonds because they're safe, because that guarantees income for the game to continue to be played. And we fall for it. Crazy. Funny thing is, they all know we can't ever pay them back, so they don't seem to care. Yeah, and it will never get paid back. They'll collapse at first. They'll come out with something, some new currency, something's going to happen.
Shenanigans.
The outlook is 1 trillion every 3.5 months added at its current trajectory, except it will never travel at its current trajectory because that would require them to stop new spending.
Right. Right. It's
So
going to go up.
Right. So it's 1 trillion every 3.5 months now. But, and quote me to this, by the time we get to the 6-month mark, it will be, let's say by the time we get to May or June, it will be 1 trillion every month or every month and a half by the time we get there. I'm really scared to see what our electric bill is going to be after this past week. Guys, I'd be as scared.
Oh, because of the heater running?
Yeah.
Full blown.
Yeah. I would be concerned about what your electricity bill is going to be in July with the air conditioning.
Oh.
Because, babe, I'm telling you, it's all
if
bad.
they allow you to have it, because they do rolling blackouts.
Yeah, Jules, I'll give you a copy of this whole PowerPoint if you want it. Just
Is that what she's talking
if you
about?
don't get it quick, remind me with an email. Anyway, did you find that interesting? I found that kind of interesting.
It's unsettling.
Yeah, well, just kind of the way it is, though, right? Yep. But here's the cool news: you can have a Starbucks.
Why would you? Got to pay them taxes.
Man, make everything just
pay $9 coffee and then tax on top of it. Might as well just go and suck the milk off my cow. It's cheaper.
Yep. Hey, Mo says maybe we could operate on loans with no paperwork or terms like Biden. Well, yeah, it would be amazing if the terms applied to everybody equally. I'm game.
Well, it's supposed to.
No. Yeah. And we're supposed to have balanced budgets, and we're not supposed
That's
to be
what I was
stealing
thinking.
from
Like
American
whoever's
people.
doing the household bills are like doing it wrong. Take the job needs to be pushed off.
But babe, here's the thing: we are told from an early age, just like what I was telling you, diversify.
Yes.
I mean,
and credit is good, and all of this. You know, you don't have a credit score if you don't have credit.
Yep.
Let's get you a credit card.
That's right. Yeah, it is such a scam, and it's all propped up to keep that machine moving. It's all propped up for collectivism. That's all it is. It's collectivism versus individualism, and it's nothing more, nothing less. And they're going to continue to prop the system and tell us what is the smart thing to do. I have all kinds of friends who make fun of me all the time. And they're like, man, you know, those bonds are paying a good rate. Well, good for you. Big Kid says, I buy real goods only, and I also buy ahead anywhere I get a chance. I also never save money since it loses its value so fast. I'd much rather have my money in assets. Sounds like Britain and the elites won the Revolutionary War after all. Yeah, Big B, you might be onto something right there, actually. Yeah. Thankfully, my heater doesn't run. No electric on the thermostat right now, kicking off and on. The best investment is in things people will need, like furniture, lumber. Yeah, I think the best thing we could be doing with our assets right now is building our own infrastructures, our own systems, our own processes,
and removing stroke.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what that does. Is by building our own systems and processes, we are removing stroke. I just want the free coffee grounds from Starbucks for my compost pile. When was the last time a budget was balanced? Yeah, right.
I'm surprised Starbucks doesn't charge for their used coffee grounds.
Yeah. Someday the outlook is not so great, but the uplook is always great. Well, guys, I can give you example after example, and I try to do that when we go through this of times we're winning. If go watch that link I put it in the description when we're done here tonight, and you'll find that, you know what, there's people out there fighting it. You know, we're not the only ones.
What description?
The video from the World Economic Forum that I put in under the description. The last time the U.S. was debt-free was 1825. Yeah. Yeah. That's a joke.
In a minute.
Yeah. Let me see. Most of the young people today have no idea how to cook, split wood, live without electricity, and the list goes on. Oh, yeah.
And most of them don't want to.
Yeah. You know, everybody wants to you know, compare what's going to go on in the, you know, the next depression to the Great Depression, and that had the greatest generation. But see, the thing is, all of them grew gardens. That was just normal life. Right? All of them had to go work hard.
That's the thing.
There wasn't a 30-year-old living in their basement, you know, their parents' basement playing video games all day long. Right? You're talking about a totally different generation.
But their plate was broken way earlier.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, so the generation today is not that strong, but I have faith in specifically Americans. You know, I have faith in humans in that, you know, we will rise to the occasion. We just got to get to a point where it hurts bad enough. Sorry, guys. Let me see. The crap going on between the U.S. and the Houthis is stupid. Our Navy is shooting down $20,000 drones with $2 million missiles. Yeah. How it's always been, right? They bag them and put them in baskets by the doors. Every time someone tells me it's good to have credit and bad for your credit score if you pay off all your debt, I say, oh no, my slave score went down. Good for you. Good for you. I need to remember those words. Those are really good words. Let me see here. The last time that the budget was balanced or had a surplus was 2001, the United States federal budget. Well, it depends on how you count balancing, right? That's the thing about, let me tell you guys a story. So I once had connections. I got to be really careful how I go through this. Connections with a financial holding company that at the end of the year, the question was asked between the CEO and the chief operating officer, do we want to be profitable this year? And that's a super big statement because you would think that either you are or you're not.
Yeah, like it's a
not really. That's really not how it works. Because what they'll do is they'll get to the end of the year and they'll move money wherever they not to show the outcome they want, right? And okay, if we're profitable,
like buying equipment.
Right.
Hurry, we got to go buy equipment.
Right.
Hurry, we got to go.
Right. But if I show a profit, I got to give it to the shareholder. I got to pay a dividend. If I go buy this equipment, I won't have to this year or whatever, you know. One word: sour Broughton stew. I don't know what that is, but and I'm sure because of who's saying it, it's not an actual stew. People only change their behavior when they're made uncomfortable. Couldn't agree more. Perfectly said. All right, next slide. You guys ready to talk about something else? You got anything else you want to talk about?
No.
We just keep going. Okay, let me see here. This was an interesting map that let me get rid of that I found. So this was we're talking about climate change and all of the stuff, and that they're expecting more severe weather, severe earthquakes, more of that kind of stuff. And this is a new map reveals earthquake hotspots putting hundreds of millions at risk. And what they were talking about is that 75% of the United States is now at an elevated risk from an earthquake. And so I thought these were pretty interesting maps. You know, we've talked a lot about when you're looking for land to do a threat and needs analysis. This would be one of the components I would put in my threat and needs analysis, right? Is threats of things like this. So I find it super, super interesting.
There's quite a bit of dark red right there.
Yeah, so this dark red, this is the New Madrid fault, right? And this is what runs up, you know, through St. Louis, but and Chicago and all. There's a lot of big cities right there. And they say that one could be bad, but look over here on the West Coast, even kind of in the middle a little bit. Yeah, Texas is pretty free of any problems. You know, Oklahoma's got a little spot. Look at beautiful Kansas right there, right?
Yeah, it's all
Iowa and all that. But anyway, I thought you guys would find that interesting. I found it interesting.
Do you remember feeling the earthquake when
I don't.
Elissa was in boot camp?
That's why corporations go through tax loss season every year. Yeah. Yeah. I've been using cash for so long, I probably don't have a credit score and could care less.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, good for you. I agree 100%. All right. We ready to get on to the positive things?
Do you have positive things?
I do. You ready?
Yeah, let's get that done.
All right. Oh, yeah, we're an hour and 42. I'll blow through. So this is probably something I think you thought you'd find positive.
Batteries?
So enriching uranium is a key factor of how quickly Iran could produce a nuclear weapon. And yet today, it was announced that Biden's Iran nuclear containment policy is failing, and the UN warns regime, referring to Iran, has enough materials now for several warheads. So this is super, super important.
This is...
You like my positive news?
I thought that they said that they thought that they did have.
Well, they've been talking about it for a long time, but the actual International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, the inspectors have now confirmed that they have.
Oh,
they have confirmed. And Israel has said several times that they won't allow this to be. Right. And in fact, the Pakistan prime minister left the World Economic Forum meeting in a hurry to fly back to his country on this news. And because Pakistan and Iran have been exchanging missiles as of late, of one of those hot spots. So I think this right here, if you guys remember back when the Palestinians first started bombing Israel and the whole thing started back then, we did a live and I said, here we go. We're going to invade Iran. And what I think is really interesting about this is after 9/11, we invaded Iraq because we were going to go search for weapons of mass destruction, which we did not find. Mass destruction, yes. And this is the stuff they need to be able to go invade Iran. So I find it super fascinating. Jules says, newsflash, Iran has had nuke for decades. Yeah, but here's the point is they need the card to be able to play it, right? So.
You mean knowing?
No, it's not that. It's that they publicly said, the International Atomic Energy Agency says, they have nukes. And now the war machine can say, we have to do something about it. Right? It gives them kind of an opening for those kinds of things. Ghetto says, I call BS. The club we're not invited to won't allow anyone to drop a nuke again. Yeah, well, I don't think that it necessarily has anything to do with nukes. I think what it has to do with is this now gives them the green light, in my opinion, at least.
The green light to use them?
Yeah.
Because you knew I had them.
Yeah. And then NATO warns civilians in the West must prepare for all-out war with Russia. Civilians in Western countries should prepare for an all-out war with Russia, according to Rob Barr, the chairman for the NATO Military Committee. He also notes that although the armed forces are ready for war, citizens of Western countries should also be prepared for a conflict that will require significant changes to their lives.
That's us, right?
Yeah, and I'll kind of blow through these and get to some good stuff. Then from the Daily Express 7 hours ago said World War III has already begun, and a warning issued: no chance of peace for decades.
Decades.
Crazy. What's this next one? Oh, this is interesting. So I started thinking to myself, well, I wonder what does it really mean to be in a world war? Like, what's the measurement of it? Is it a number of countries involved? Is it the size of countries involved? Like, what's the measurement that would classify a world war? And so as I began to look at it, some of the talks they were talking about, the safety around the world. And so I found this from 10 hours ago that talked about how now 1/5 of the world's population is too dangerous to travel. And if you look at this, the top 24 blacklist destinations, the Foreign Office advises against travel or all but essential travel to the whole of these territories. And there's 24 of those. And then the red list says the Foreign Office advises against travel or all but essential travel to parts.
And there's 42 of those. So parts of those 42.
Parts of those 42. So I thought that was interesting.
Ethiopia.
That you got 1/5 of the world that it's unsafe to travel to. Here's another thing that I found interesting. So according to Wikipedia, world war is what this was really interesting. A war involving many important nations. So I wonder what classifies a nation as important. At least to me, that was interesting. And so I started digging deeper, but I found this map, and this was actually clipped today. This is an interactive map. These are what they consider the high dangerous conflicts going on right now overseas. And so if you look down here in South America, you've got going on with Brazil, and in Venezuela, you've got the revolution going on in Haiti, the cartels in Mexico. Africa's got a bunch going on. There's a whole bunch in the Middle East. Pakistan and Iran have been firing missiles at each other. You got the threat of China and Taiwan, the North Korea threat. So I think it's interesting to see this as a big picture, and that the world's a mess. I guess I just put it at that. Let me see here. Ever think that cash sent to Iran might be to play for the jump on Pakistan? Oh, sure. I think there's all kinds of things that go behind the scenes that none of us will ever know, Prepare for war on U.S. soil, she says. You have an odd perspective on good news, Tag.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not good news. The largest military training drills are going to be kicked off in March, I believe, on the western border of Ukraine. Can you say preparation? I've been reading a lot of stuff about, there was a leaked document. I wish I put it in here. I just didn't think about it. From Germany, if you guys go Google it and look it up, a leaked document from Germany talked about the war plans for the West versus Russia to be full bore by 2025. And I don't know if that's true, but it was a leaked document from the German government. I think it's going to be more of a cyber than kinetic. I agree with this, actually. We are already in it. No big news headlines in the paper like in the past. Yeah, I actually agree with that. I agree, Ghetto. It's that sixth sense of humor. Yeah. Yeah, we have a World War III invasion at our southern border. See, there's a whole lot of truth. A whole lot of truth in that too, Interesting. Taiwan is not on the list. They must already consider it China territory. Yeah, this was just an interactive map that I Googled and looked up. This is kind of a government-sponsored map, but I found it super fascinating. Starla says, yep, I've seen all that leaked document. Yeah. This is the definition of good news that I was not previously acquainted with. Oh, have a sense of humor. All right. Well, what else is next? You got anything else you want to talk about? Because I've got about 5 more slides on here we could keep talking about. But oh, did you know that China now owns 40 million acres of farmland?
No, I didn't.
40 million acres
of U.S.
farmland, of U.S. farmland in the United States.
I thought they were stopping that.
They're trying to. Well, they say they're trying to, but it seems to me they made it awful easy for them to do it.
That's too bad.
Yeah, 25,000 young Chinese men of military age have came in. Rumors of war. See, I actually agree with that. I think it's all a big thing to keep us scared all the time. Well, let's talk about Trump, because I found this interesting. So this was out of the Iowa caucus. So it was a few days ago. It was January 15th.
Oh, I saw this.
But what I found interesting is they said that tonight ahead of the Iowa caucus, CNN, this is their poll, which I find pretty fascinating, asked, do you think Biden legitimately won the 2020 election? And 68% of the poll respondents said no. Almost 70% of the people that they polled said they did not believe it was, that he won it legitimately, and yet they still believe in the voting system. How weird is that? To me, that's just odd. And then I thought I'd put in there who actually got how many votes. Nikki Haley come in second. It was mainly out of one county, and she won by one vote in that county. But this was pretty much the outcome, and I think it's funny because they're doing everything they can to hush him. And you guys know I'm not a big Trump fan, but I still think it's interesting. And then I just thought I would tell you that here's some new campaign policy promises coming out, which I find super fascinating. And one of them is Trump promises never to allow central bank digital currencies in the U.S., says he will protect Americans from government tyranny. And he was actually also quoted as saying, I'm the guy that won't take you to World War III.
That's nice of him.
Yeah, but think about that. We have presidential candidates that's what they're running on. I won't take you to World War III. I won't allow CBDCs, and I'll protect you against government tyranny. Crazy, huh? Absolutely crazy.
Well, he thinks that the swamp is thick. So that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm in on the red of that map. It is what it is. Yes, it is. Trump is better than what we have. Starla, I could not agree more. And I'll be super clear on I would rather have Trump 100% of the time, and the man did some good things for our country. I don't think he's presidential. That's all. But he's done some good things. Now, you won't argue that. And I'd much rather have him than the, what do we call him? The mummified meat puppet.
Mummified meat puppet. You have a good memory.
Yeah, someone's got to.
I'm glad. I can't even remember how many days are in a year.
Here's some COVID news that I found pretty interesting. So there was a full congressional testimony on January 12th in 2024. And they were talking about the injuries caused by the vaccines. And one of the doctors was quoted as saying, when the doctors wake up and they realize that the data were there and they caused harm to their patient, there's a concern that I am liable now because I ignored the data. And if now I insist and I told them, and maybe I don't give them informed consent, maybe I didn't tell them of the specific numbers of myocarditis. Yeah. We know occur. Maybe I forced a person who was completely healthy that had no risk to get something that had a true known risk. Maybe some of this is just like, I can't say this vaccine is wrong now because now I have to own all of the ones when I said it was right, when the data was there and I ignored it. Dr. Kirk Millahone, and this is his testimony. And then Chris Ann Hall was responding to, I don't know if you guys know who Chris Ann Hall is, but if you don't know who she is, she's awesome. She's a former liberal, worked as a scientist, and is now a constitutional attorney. But anyway, she said, yeah, she's a liberty addict. But she said scientists have known since the 90s that mRNA causes sterility.
Sterils.
I know because I was one of those scientists. Stunning how they keep pretending to be shocked. GMO is mRNA tech. This is why seeds are sterile. Just another conspiracy I tried to warn everyone about. This one got me banned on Twitter. Which I find super interesting. But don't worry, guys. The good news is China is developing the killer COVID virus that killed 100% of rats when tested.
Killed 100% of the rats?
Yeah, that were tested. So, oh my goodness.
Good grief.
Let me see here. Hey, Todd, welcome back, bud. Inject our minds with fear and then give us a savior. Yep. Why? Because of his mouth? Now, he's just not presidential. I mean, you know, we don't go around talking about a president, in my opinion, is somebody you look up to. We don't go around talking about grabbing the girl by the front butt, right? We don't. I mean, we just don't. Right? I mean, I don't think he's very presidential, but I would absolutely take him more than.
Because he's harsh, or he's locker room talk.
He's harsh, and he's not couth, and he's not. I just think the president.
Debonair.
Yeah, I mean, I think the president should be something little kids in elementary school should look up to. You know, but again, I would take him way more
proper.
The taxpayers have to pay for the V damage as it's set up now. Of course they do. They have to pay for everything. Nobody pays for anything else. Bigby, Taxpayers pay for everything. I seen in a headline where the newly released virus by China has 100% kill rate. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. When they did the testing on it in the labs, it killed 100% of the mice and rats that it was tested upon. But again, it's just scare tactics, right? I hate to defend Trump, but he said that on a guy-on-guy convo, not in public. It's fine. It's totally fine. And that was just one example, Ghetto. Again, are you telling me that you think he's presidential? Guys, Trump did so much more than Biden and Obama combined, in my opinion. Probably Biden and put the Bushes in there too. I'm not arguing that, but he's just not presidential. And it's amazing to me
he's crude sometimes.
He's crude. And you're telling me that the best America had to offer, the brightest America had to offer was Trump and Biden? I want a t-shirt that says, "Don't go around talking about grabbing a girl by the front butt." I'm going to regret saying that, ain't I?
Yes, you are.
Reagan ensured that we can't go after pharma. And ain't that a joke? Well, nah, he's not presidential, more of a cult leader. Trump is not a state. There you go. Well said, Leather. Thank you, because I was digging myself a hole. Trump is not a statesman, and that's what we need. And I agree with that. 100% agree with that. All right. We're approaching 2 hours, and I'm going to run this out. Guys, check this out. So I took these pictures of my local supermarket, and so okay, I got to add this. LJC says, and then on the back of the t-shirt, John Galt for president.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, anyway, this is my grocery store. You're looking at the egg aisle, and believe it or not, the aisle that had all of the rolls and the frozen rolls, and
that's the refrigerated section.
Yeah, it's all refrigerated section.
So that's like the biscuits and the
the biscuits and all that stuff.
Cheese, the cookie dough is there. Looks like eggs.
Yeah. So this is what it looked like when I was there. Yes.
Those are all egg.
These are all eggs. Yep. This was the whole egg section. That was the only bit of eggs left, was right there in the center.
But even the fake eggs on the top shelf are gone.
Yep.
The canister, the cartons of egg whites.
Yeah. And I would expect more of these kinds of things, because again, the supply chain, much like our infrastructure, is pretty delicate.
Yeah, because there's no way somebody came and bottled those biscuits. They didn't come in.
I would argue,
or they spoiled those biscuits.
Yeah, something. I would argue that our opinion of presidential is not real anyway. All of the past presidents have skeletons. They are not respectable, man. They just appear to be. Yeah, I don't think I disagree with that. Harry Truman was very blunt when he spoke. People love to make French toast in weather events. That's why the eggs were gone, Gator says. Yeah, ours was just like that yesterday, Tag. No kidding. Yeah. Well, I just think it's important. When you guys are out there, take pictures of stuff like that. It's good to help, kind of keep us all in the loop. All right, guys. So I've got 2 more pictures that I want to show you guys. And then we can, say our parting words and get out of here. But so sometimes, and you guys have heard me talk about this, sometimes I think it's hard to stay motivated because we get trapped, right smack staring at the bark because, we can't. Hey, Rhonda, have a good night. We can't see the forest, right? And so you just got to kind of truck along. And so I got an alert earlier this week about, hey, here's a 3-year-old memory. So I thought I would share the memory and then what it's like today. And I thought you guys might find this fascinating. So this was my house when we built it out on the farm 3 years ago.
That's pod 1.
Yep. So all that's built is pod 1. We have 2 sets of solar panels up. And if you can see in the background, the third set that's going in that row is standing straight up, which means that I'm working on it. The powerhouse is in. But pod 2 isn't there, pod 3 isn't there, pod 4 isn't there. And I know from this picture, the processing kitchen isn't there, the shop isn't there.
Yeah.
What's really, really cool is you notice there's no road.
Yeah, the road's not even there.
There's no road. Yep, this was all, way early in the beginning as I was trying to make sure I had a place to lay my head.
Yeah, and the trees are all in the backyard.
Yep, yeah, that's right. And there's a lot of those trees. If you look back behind the house, they wouldn't be there back there because we dug the pond back there. But really, really cool, right?
You can see the drive where the driveway is, or was where we're driving. You can see,
you can see the wheels.
Trails.
Yeah, and actually, if you look really, really close at the front of that pod 1, you'll see my skid loader parked inside. See it?
Oh, yeah.
And so that room is now a room. I don't park tools, but when I built it, I needed to have a place to lock my tools up.
It's just a place to park the skid loader.
And so that was the place, but it's also no longer there.
Yeah.
you know, and it just 3 years. And anybody want to see what it looked like 3 years later? Right. And so there's the exact same house 3 years later. And you can see my beautiful bride out there. I have a road, you know, her processing kitchen's almost done. Pod 4 is almost done. Let me see here.
Pod 1's almost done. Pod 2's almost done. Pod 3's almost done. The greenhouse we're going to redo because there's some window issues. We bought some, we didn't buy, we got some used windows from a neighbor and we put them in, and then they started to disintegrate. Yeah. So we're going to try to do something different with that.
Yeah. And it's constantly evolving, you know, and learning as we go. And, you know, it's not like we built this with a blueprint or anything, right? No. We just kept building.
And we used a lot of some of the stuff that we used material didn't pan out so well. Some of the wood that we got that was used, we're like, yeah, we'll put this on the back deck. It's great. And then we're like, that's not so great.
Yeah. Mario says, would you rather have a well-spoken statement that robs you or a rude, crude, and socially unacceptable American that leads you away from the statesman? I would rather have the second, but why do I have to choose between those two? Right? You see, that's sweet. Is a bungalow similar to a homestead? Dad wants to build us a bungalow. I think a homestead is a state of mind. Mm-hmm. Homesteading is a state of mind. It isn't necessarily a location.
And a bungalow is a type of house, right?
I would say that's true, but again, I think it's your own interpretation, right?
Oh,
no
true.
Pile for the pups to play Queen of the Hill. Wowza, it's come a long way. Oh yeah, we have done so.
No, there's a pile on the opposite side of the driveway.
Oh yeah, there's still piles. It's just not there, you know. Now this is the stuff I like to see on the Life Done Free channel, growing to a life done free. You know, we are swinging as hard as we can.
It's been
trying to get it done. It's been a road, and it's easy to get discouraged, you know, because it's just another thing and another thing.
Yeah.
McMurray Hatchery is who we like to use too. Mo says, were you living there yet? So I'm gonna go back to that picture real quick. So at this stage, I wasn't quite living there because when we moved in, I had just started on pod 2, right?
No, pod 2 was already in. We had to scramble to get the floors in. We had to.
Oh yeah, that's right. So
the walls.
That's right. So I had pod 2, but the flooring wasn't in, and we were scrambling to get that in. When we moved in. So
we were trying to get pod 3 was even up.
Yep. Oh.
It was not livable. I mean.
Well done, you two. That is great. Stick your chest out a little. Yeah, you know, it's crazy, guys, to look back at this picture, because I can see so many things. Like a lot of people can't even see, like the water catchment system outside the greenhouse isn't in. The greenhouse is not there. I have no sidewalks. I have no, you know, driveways. This was literally a basic place to get us in out of the weather if we had to come here. It was really nothing more.
We were still parking up at the road.
Yeah, and walking in
1,200 feet in.
Yeah. Watched a video the other day on the top 10 things to do in preparation for the times to come. Found myself saying, I've done that. I can do that. I've started on that. Had felt like a failure, but no more. Oh, good for you. What a great perspective. Love the before and after pictures. Yeah, it's been a lot. Congratulations on the impressive projects. Yeah, 3 years though. 3 years of my life. Yeah, Big B, I can explain it. So I purposely built it in pods because several reasons, but I wanted to be able to fund it out of my pocket. I didn't want to take a loan. So what I could do is like this. This was pod 1. I could get it up, and in pod 1 is 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, and a bathroom. And what I could do is, if worst case, we could live out of that. And then the next thing is I knew I wanted a living room. So we were going to build the next pod. But there's a couple things if you want to really notice. You notice how my sidewalls are really tall, and that's because that allows me to constantly add on. So what I do is I just dump the water lines in an exterior wall where my next pod is, so that my water's there, and I make sure I've got electricity coiled up and ready to go. And so,
Cat 5 line.
Yeah, Cat 5 lines, Cat 6 lines,
Cat
whatever.
25 line.
And so then I would just, like, you can't see pod 2 from here because it's between those two, but.
And it's pushed in a foot.
Yeah. So the front door back behind B is actually pod 2, but so we just kept building in pods. And again, it allowed me to do it just out of my pocket. It allowed me to do it at the pace I could do it in, you know, so that's why I like to build it that way.
As we could afford it.
Yep. You guys have worked very hard for this. Yes, we have. Mostly B.
Yes.
Well done, Tag and B. I only hope my project works as well as yours. I will wind up with 8,800 square feet of underground and above ground living space for under $15,000. Yeah, good for you.
Good job.
Yes, I have the Bungalow Arts and Crafts book here. Okay. Our first living space was 8 by 12. Yeah, how cool is that? You know, that's a lot in 3 years. Well, you know, it's crazy what you don't see in this picture is in those 3 years, I've also built 2 barns,
Yep.
fencing,
Shop.
2 gardens, a shop.
Or 2 shops.
2 shops. Yep.
Pond.
That we've built a well. Yep. Yep. With no debt. And that's the important part. I did not want to take on debt.
Right.
To do it. And guys, it's not perfect. There's all kinds of things I'm learning as I go that I would have done different if I could do it again.
And there's things that we got to fix.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we have a house and it's nice and big. And people ask me all the time, why did we build a house so big? But it's because I believe my kids are coming home. And I have boys who have significant others and kids. I hope lots of them someday. And I wanted to make sure that when the day comes, my kids come home. We built each one of them a master suite in the house. So they have their own room. There's another small room next to it that the kids can stay, and that they had a bathroom. And so that's why I built it so big. But the truth is we spend almost all of our time in pod 1.
Yes.
Until once pod 4 gets done, maybe it'll be something
That'll be different. But pod 1 is where the kitchen queen is.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so toasty.
Yeah.
Plus there's food there.
Yeah.
So heat, food, water.
Yeah.
Why would you leave?
How many acres are producing vegetables?
On ours?
Yeah, so she has her annual garden, and that's probably about 1.5 acres. And then you have the perennial garden, right, which are your food forest, not food, your swells and all that.
Yeah.
And that's probably it. So maybe 3 acres, maybe. Helen says huge fireplace. Yeah, you guys would tell me one of the proudest moments I had is Bee put every rock on that fireplace. And I've got a picture of her somewhere all the way at the top of that fireplace putting the last couple rocks on.
Yeah.
Acres Raw 50 Source said, what'd you do in your spare time? Well, I just kept working. But
He napped.
Bee went on vacation.
He was napping.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, you all built that for under 100K. I did. I have less than $100,000 in this house. But we're fastly approaching the 100 grand mark. I think I'm in the mid 90s now with all of the stuff that we've done. But
are you counting like the appliances and stuff?
No, I'm
talking building.
No, I'm talking about just the building.
Concrete,
the
blocks.
Concrete, the walls, the insulation, the wiring, right? The siding, the windows.
And that's just the house,
doors.
not my shop, not
No,
your
that's
shop.
just the house.
Just the house.
Yeah.
Is it counting the greenhouse and the porch out back and the
anything attached to the house? So it counts the greenhouse, counts the porches.
Okay.
See, like right here, you can see that black tank on the side. That's to feed that greenhouse, which in that previous picture isn't there, right?
Yeah.
It's not back there.
Well,
yet.
the greenhouse isn't even there.
Anyway, all right, babe. What you got to say? What kind of parting words you got, and then we'll get our tail out of here tonight.
I was going to talk about how that change begins with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like real change starts with us. Gotta be communal and be willing to take the short end of the stick and, you know, let somebody else get the better deal for once. You know, we don't always have to be so concerned with me and looking out for just me. And, you know, you do that, you're going to find yourself alone.
Yeah.
You know, the community plays such a big role, not just in, hey, I need help lifting this thing up on the roof, but, you know, when I'm having a down day and I can call one of them and go, this just broke. And they can go, well, you're going to be fine. And, you know, what happened to me? You know, we can share the mindset along with the load, the lifting.
Share the load.
Share the load, man.
You're such a dork.
You married me. So anyway, that's the change begins with us. We've got to do our part, plus a little bit. And be willing to put yourself out there, because if I never leave the farm, I'm never going to find anybody. And I didn't want to be on YouTube, and I didn't want you on YouTube, and don't want us to go anywhere, and just animals here doesn't get us where we want to be.
Yeah. I'll echo what B said, that, you know, we've got to give ourselves plus a little bit, and to remember that. And I mean this to all you guys out there. I'm not in competition with any of you, because I want you guys to win too.
Yes.
And it's not about any of that. And, you know, all of us are at a different stage, and our job is to be encouraging and to be uplifting and to recognize that we're all at a different stage. I've told the story many times about my uncle who said I was crazy, and I never told him he was stupid. And one day he came to me and said I was smart. And I look back and I'm thankful I never called him stupid, because he was just at his place in the journey. As we started this live stream tonight, and we talked about a young man reaching out, trying to figure out how to protect his family, and the whole community pounced on a hole. That wasn't fair.
Not our community.
A lot of them pounced on him to ridicule him because he had made a bad decision or had asked a stupid question. And how dare us? We have to be better than that. We have to be able to recognize that people are at a different place, and it's our job to pick them up and uplift them, even if we don't agree. Even if they're a liberal or they're a Republican, or no matter what they are, if they're at all reaching out for any kind of, there's got to be a better way. It's okay for them to believe wrong or not to believe the way that you believe. It's our job to lift them up and to mentor them and help them grow through their journey.
Really?
And if you're not doing that, you're just simply part of the problem.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it on Haker's Rake 54. B, you're so right. Change begins with us, is what will make people survivors. Well, and it's what will take the system back. Good night, everybody. Tag and be out.
Good night.